Alas, I have always dreamed of reaching General Yi Long's level in this life. Now it seems that our vision is still too narrow. We are far from being able to surpass even such an existence, and we still want to reach the level of General Yi Long. Dream on. The experts brought by Jiang Xingxi watched the scene and were sweating all over. They couldn't believe that what they saw was real. Such hand-to-hand combat and such crazy speed are simply difficult for them to capture with their vision. If it really comes to actual combat, it will definitely be the nightmare of all of them. After all, sometimes speed is everything. Before you can even see the trajectory of other people's movements, your throat may have been cut. So people like Ryuya and Bai Ling are definitely enemies that no one wants to face. The two of them kept fighting, but neither of them hurt the other. They just felt sweaty and refreshed all over. Jiang Xingxi and others were stunned. Seeing that the two men stopped fighting, they sighed and left quietly. Jiang Xingxi was even more moved at this time. Brother Yi had too many powerful people under his command. Not to mention his own southwest branch, even if he selected from the entire Yanhuang army, he might not be able to pick out one or two such people. Not long after the two men finished fighting, Yi Xian and others slowly walked down. Seeing the two of them fighting for a long time and damaging all the flowers and plants nearby, but he himself was not hurt at all, Yi Xian couldn't help but roll his eyes. Why did he have to deal with these two enemies? I told you guys to fight if you want to, it's okay for you to be unscathed, but you messed up my garden like this, let's see what I can do. Yi Xian turned his head and saw that even at this place, the two men still made a mess everywhere. He felt relieved in his heart that the two men did not fight there. Hearing this, the two looked around and saw branches, trees, flowers and plants lying on the ground. It was a mess. Forehead. Bai Ling scratched her head awkwardly and glared at Longshi beside her, with a hint of blame in her eyes. If this guy hadn't said something rude just now, I wouldn't have bothered to fight him. But it's not surprising. The situation between the two of them just now was still under control. If they really couldn't control it at all, it would only be worse than it is now. Long Yi didn't say anything. He stood up consciously and went to clean up the mess at the scene. What a piece of wood. Bai Ling muttered something, and then said nothing more. She followed Longshi and walked forward happily. She tidied up the debris on the ground and then carefully trimmed the flowers and plants. Chapter 185, Terrifying Effects. Yi Xian stood aside and watched the two enemies with great interest. They were clearly fighting for life and death just now, but now they were sharing hardships. However, at this moment, Yi Xian's cell phone suddenly rang urgently, and the person calling was none other than Sun Ji. Master, the first batch of this Qingling potion has been delivered to various cities. Yi Xian was delighted when he heard this, nodded with a smile, and then spoke softly. Then you should take a good rest first, I will make the arrangements. Then, Yi Xian hung up the phone and looked at Tang Hao beside him. Tang Hao, notify the heads of all military departments that we will have a video conference in half an hour. Okay, Brother Yi. Tang Hao nodded, knowing it was a big deal, and immediately notified everyone. Not long after, Zhang Qingtian, Jiang Xingxi, and several other division managers saw the news, and everyone was stunned. Notify all the regional dragon commanders to rush to the conference room within half an hour. After Zhang Qingtian received the news, he immediately spoke to Principal Long beside him with a serious expression. Yes. Principal Long did not dare to neglect it. Although he did not know what the specific matter was, he had not encountered a meeting of this scale for a long time. At this time, Zhang Qingtian was standing by the window, his eyes trembling slightly, and his heart was filled with emotion. After all, he knew about the Qingling potion relatively early. When he saw Yi Xian's notification, he already knew almost everything. The first batch of military members who used the medicine before made rapid progress at this time, which is incomparable to the past. If we wait until this Qingling potion is completely distributed to every member of the Yanhuang army, then the strength of the Yanhuang army will get a qualitative leap. General Zhang Long, what are you so anxious about? At this time, a middle-aged man with 3 gold stars on his shoulders walked in. After knowing the news, he came here as soon as possible. General Yin Long, come and look at this. Zhang Qingtian opened the message and handed it to Yin Renfeng. This is General Yi Long. Yin Renfeng paused, then his whole body trembled. He had already expected that this was a big deal. General Zhang Long, could this be? Yin Renfeng was halfway through his words when Zhang Qingtian smiled and nodded. It's almost certain. I won't say too much for now. We'll know in half an hour. Yin Runfeng nodded heavily, solemnly adjusted his hat and collar, and then quickly rushed to the conference room, waiting for the video conference to begin. At the same time, at the southwest branch of the Yanhuang military headquarters, Jiang Xingxi had just returned to his office. After sitting down, Jiang Xingxi was still recalling the previous fight between Longsher and Bai Ling in his mind, muttering to himself. It's really indescribably powerful. I'm afraid only Brother Yi can train such a strong man. However, at this moment, the phone on Jiang Xingxi's desk suddenly rang. After answering the call, Tang Hao's voice came from the other end. Brother Tang, it's you. What's wrong? Thinking that something might have happened to Yi Xian, Jiang Xingxi, who was originally sitting, stood up straight all of a sudden. Don't worry, it's nothing. Brother Yi will organize a video conference in half an hour. He has something important to announce. I'm letting you know in advance. Tang Hao's voice was very calm, which made Jiang Xingxi feel relieved. Brother Tang, I understand. Don't worry, I'll go down and arrange it right away. Afterwards, Jiang Xingxi hung up the phone. Although he didn't ask what the specific matter was, he could guess that all the divisions should have received the notice one after another. Moreover, this was a video conference initiated by Yi Xian himself, so it must be no small matter. After hesitating for a moment, Jiang Xingxi did not delay any longer. He straightened his military uniform, his expression became solemn, and then he walked out of the office. At this time, the teapot on his desk was still emitting wisps of hot steam. As Tang Hao's news was notified to all branches, all the senior executives from all branches rushed to the meeting room ready for battle. No matter who they were, they all had serious expressions at this moment, and called back the high-level dragon generals from all branches, no matter what they were doing at the moment. Finally, half an hour later, in the meeting rooms of various branches, all the senior executives arrived as scheduled, staring at the screen in front of them with burning eyes. Soon, an image appeared on the screen, and it was Yi Xian. General Yi Long. Suddenly, everyone stood up and solemnly saluted Yi Xian on the big screen with a standard military salute. Yi Xian waved his hand, and these senior executives sat down, but they still kept their composure and held their breath, staring at the big screen without looking away. Although Yi Xian was not wearing a military uniform, he looked serious at this time. He picked up his watch to check the time, and then started the meeting in an orderly manner. Everyone, I called you to this video conference today because I have something important to announce to you. As Yi Xian spoke, he took out a bottle of Qingling potion from his body. I believe everyone knows that this Qingling medicine has been rapidly popularized in various branches. However, due to insufficient productivity, it has not yet been able to fully cover the entire Yanhuang army. At this time, the dragon generals knew that it was about the Qingling potion, and their expressions became more serious. The whole place was silent, and they listened quietly to Yi Xian's words. But now, the Qingling potion has been mass-produced through coordination, so it will soon be fully popularized in the Yanhuang military, allowing the strength of all our military members to be improved. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present in several branches became excited. This was undoubtedly great news. Ahem. But with Yi Xian's light cough, the dragon generals knew that Yi Xian had something else to say and immediately became quiet again. At this moment, Yi Xian on the screen had a smile on his face and spoke slowly to everyone. Everyone, don't worry. I haven't finished what I'm saying yet. This time, I'm not only going to make this medicine available to everyone in the Yanhuang military, I'm going to release it throughout China. But this is a big project. I need your assistance. Each division needs to arrange people to supervise and distribute the work at the distribution points in each city. Remember, each Chinese person is limited to receiving only one dose, and must consume it on the spot before leaving. The packaging of the medicine cannot be taken away, and real name registration is required. Finally, and this is the most important thing, our Qingling medicine can only be distributed in China. It is not allowed in other countries. If anyone is found to have leaked the medicine without authorization, he will be killed without mercy. Boom! Suddenly, the dragon generals from several divisions were stunned. Even the persons in charge of each division could no longer sit still. They had also received a considerable amount of spirit summoning potion before, so they naturally knew the efficacy of Yi Xian's potion. Chapter 186 It's like a dream. When Yi Xian said that he wanted to popularize it throughout the Yanhuang military, their hearts were already beating fast, but they didn't expect that it would be released throughout China. In an instant, this news was like a bolt of lightning, piercing everyone's heart. The next second, almost everyone showed a look of joy on their face. If this happens, not only will the strength of the Yanhuang military members be rapidly improved, but the physical fitness of the Chinese people will also be improved to a higher level as a whole. Great! This is really great news. As expected of General Yilong, he brought about this great historical feat with just a few gestures. Looks like some people are going to be envious and jealous now. In an instant, thunderous applause broke out in the entire conference room, and all the dragon generals were excited. At this moment, this scene should be recorded in history. Okay, that's about it. Let's end the meeting here. We will make detailed arrangements for the release of the medicine later. All that needed to be said had been said at this point, so Yi Xian cut off the video. Even so, the entire conference room was still boiling with excitement, and everyone was still immersed in the joy of learning that the drug was fully released. After the meeting, Sun Ji called and asked about the price of this medicine among ordinary people. Master, when we distribute this medicine to ordinary people, what is the appropriate price? Yi Xian smiled when he heard this, and then asked Sun Ji. Are you short of money? I wish this potion was free. Okay, master. Sun Ji had nothing to say, just nodded heavily, and then began to busy himself with the follow-up work of the release. First, he revealed the efficacy of the medicine, and then jointly issued a statement with major hospitals in China. This medicine is for one person only, and is for all Chinese nationals, and requires real name authentication of legal resident status. The effect of the medicine, in addition to curing diseases, can also enhance physical fitness and improve the body's physical functions without any side effects. Not only that, the effect is permanent. As long as you take the potion, the effect will remain until you die. And there is one thing that needs special attention regarding this medicine. This medicine is only for Chinese people and will only be released in China. It will never go beyond the borders. In an instant, when the news about the Qingling potion broke out on the internet, this explosive news quickly spread throughout the land of China. Before long, the entire China was under lockdown, and there was an uproar on the internet. All social media and forums were suddenly dominated by the news released by Qingling Pharmacy. Ding! 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 At this moment, on the online forums, there are thousands of comments about this refreshing potion every second. However, news about celebrities, scandals, and the like cannot cause any waves nowadays, and no one pays attention to them at all. In the comments, there were thousands of words expressing excitement, and all Chinese people immediately applauded. The comments section was a rare occasion. Great! The country has actually developed such a medicine. This is no longer a medicine, it is the latest scientific research result for optimizing the genes of the Chinese people. This time it is supervised by the military, so I feel relieved. It's hard to believe that something like this is free. At the same time, after people abroad got the news, they began to criticize this medicine. What a crappy drug. It's only released in China. Who wants it? There must be some complications with this thing, otherwise how could it have such an effect? Even we haven't developed this kind of medicine yet, who are you trying to fool? Although there are always a lot of comments like this on the internet, people are so excited and happy now that they don't have the time to pay attention to them. Soon, the news spread all over the internet, and countless people were waiting for the release of the medicine. A few days later, following Yi Xian's order, distribution began in all cities across China. When people heard the news, they all scrambled to line up. Not only ordinary residents, but also many critically ill patients came to line up early. Some of them were in wheelchairs, some were supported by others, and looked extremely weak. There are also cancer patients who are desperate and have begun to join the team. This medicine is a ray of hope they see in times of despair, and they cannot miss this opportunity no matter what. For a time, various media and short videos were reporting on the first release in major cities. At this time, almost every city in China was bustling with people, especially at the distribution points of medicines, where there were huge crowds of people and heavy traffic. People spontaneously lined up in long queues, holding their identification cards in their hands, waiting to receive their medicines. Reporters from all walks of life also came to the scene, queuing up and continuously introducing the situation at the scene. After a few hours, many people had received the medicine and took it on the spot. Suddenly, various news were reported, and each one was exciting. For those patients who originally had some colds, within less than 3 minutes after drinking the medicine, the minor symptoms of the cold disappeared instantly. According to their interviews, after drinking the potion, the first thing they felt was a sense of clarity of hearing and vision, and then the body began to undergo tremendous changes visible to the naked eye. The sub-health conditions caused by busy work, study pressure, and bad living habits are gone. Instead, my body felt more relaxed than ever before, as if my steps had become lighter, and my mental and physical strength had greatly improved. Just when everyone was amazed at the effect of this medicine, a report once again made the whole of China dumbfounded. In Shanghai, a terminally ill cancer patient who had been tortured beyond recognition by chemotherapy but still showed no signs of improvement, after drinking this medicine, went to the hospital for testing without stopping. However, the results of this test surprised the doctors. Originally, this person had cancer cells that were about to spread throughout his body, but after testing, it was discovered that the activity of the cells had dropped drastically and was still being suppressed. "Sir, do you feel any changes in your body now?" Many reporters were following and reporting on this patient. At this time, countless microphones were pointed at him, asking about his current physical condition. "It's amazing. I feel like I'm dreaming." Chapter 187. What is this? The man faced the media camera with tears in his eyes. He was so happy that he cried. "My cancer was incurable. The doctor said that treatment was pointless and I didn't have much time left. Just when I was at my wit's end and ready to give up treatment, I suddenly learned about the release of this drug. I didn't expect that after I took it, the cancer cells were suppressed, and my body was repairing itself every moment. Because of cancer, I used to have to gasp for air when going up and down stairs, and even felt dizzy. Now I feel like my energy and strength have returned to their peak, as if the cancer in my body has disappeared." At this point, the man was already sobbing, and the reporter turned the camera to the man's attending physician. At this time, the attending physician was wearing a mask, but still could not hide his excitement. "I still can't believe that our hospital is helpless in dealing with this patient's symptoms because the condition was discovered too late." But when the patient came to the hospital for a checkup later, not only were the cancer cells under control, but the organ damage caused by the cancer cells was also recovering rapidly. This is simply a miracle in medical history. The doctor facing the camera was holding the report of a patient who was still in the arms of his family and was in pain because of surviving a disaster. His whole body was trembling. In their decades of medical practice, they have never seen a medicine with such efficacy, which is so effective even against cancer cells. Everything that happened today will surely go down in human history. This is another milestone in modern medicine's victory over cancer, and we may soon reach the end. When the doctor said this, he wiped away the tears from his eyes, and the excitement in his heart was difficult to calm down. To be honest, in the beginning, as doctors, they were a little skeptical about the promotion of such a magical medicine due to their limited professional knowledge. They didn't expect that this medicine was better than they imagined. Once the report about the cancer patient and his attending physician was released, it caused an uproar. Not to mention the domestic medical community, even the medical community abroad was shaken. Looking across China, people's passion for the Qingling potion is still expanding infinitely. No matter it is day or night, you can always see long queues near the distribution points. Netizens were talking about it a lot. In addition to praising the medicine, they were also sharing their own miraculous effects after taking it. "I'm still confused. The myocarditis that has troubled my grandfather for decades has been cured just like that. It's amazing. I also had a rare disease. Although it didn't affect my life, I was tortured for a long time. But after taking the medicine, I recovered completely. I'm a doctor. I admit that I was skeptical at first, but I was slapped in the face. This Qingling potion is a miracle that far exceeds the current level of international medicine. This kind of medicine is actually provided to everyone in China for free. We should all be grateful." Amidst these comments, people gradually felt the pride and honor of being Chinese. As the progress of drug release continues to advance, the people's patriotic sentiments are gradually rising. Everyone holds their heads high and walks confidently on this Chinese land. However, while the whole of China was celebrating, people abroad did not think so. After seeing the news, they became even more angry and began to complain on the internet. "Why only release it in China? You Chinese are so selfish." "That's right, do you still have global awareness? You don't know how to share at all. Humph. What about globalization? Aren't you Chinese just lining your own pockets this time? This potion is not that magical at all. It only gives you some sweetness temporarily. Afterwards, countless side effects will emerge. Just wait for the disaster to come." As comments abroad became more and more extreme, Chinese netizens could no longer tolerate it and quickly launched a fierce war of words on the internet. "You foreigners are really funny. You said before that this medicine couldn't be real, and you said you didn't want it at all. Why are you nagging now? I see, you guys just say grapes are sour because you can't eat them. And you guys can't even enjoy the side effects. It's you who are the ones who are jealous and envious now. Why are you so hard to please? I tell you, these are our Chinese wealth, there is absolutely no way you will be allowed to profit from them. This time, Chinese netizens were united and launched a fierce confrontation with foreign posts and users who criticized the Qingling potion, leaving those foreign netizens speechless. As a result, those foreign netizens felt even more aggrieved. It would have been fine if they couldn't get the medicine, but now they couldn't argue with them or scold them. In Tianyuan, in the evening, Wang Xinyao and a few little ones also watched the report on TV. There are no more variety shows and TV series on China's video channels now. All of them are reporting on the release of this medicine and the subsequent tracking of its effects. Looking at the excited expressions of the people on the screen, Wang Xinyao and a few little ones also had shock on their faces. Mom, should we also line up? Yishi was very excited when she saw the effect of the potion, and she pulled Wang Xinyao aside to ask. Silly girls, this is the medicine your father developed. Last time your uncle's son brought it here, didn't we all take it? Wow! It's Dad's. After listening to Wang Xinyao's explanation, the little ones immediately looked at Yi Xian excitedly, their little faces flushed, and they admired Yi Xian even more. Dad is so amazing. He was able to develop a medicine like this. In the following few days, as the Qingling potion was released on a large scale day and night, various news were constantly reported, all about this Qingling potion. Now, every public hospital in all cities in China serves as a distribution point for medicines, and under the supervision of members of the Yanhuang Military Department, the distribution work is carried out in an orderly manner. Soon, various good news came one after another. After discovering that the drug had miraculous effects on cancer, doctors found that the drug could also cure various rare diseases. After taking the medication, the condition of patients with ALS and muscular dystrophy was quickly brought under control and their bodies were constantly repaired. Afterwards, those diseases that were once feared by people and were almost terminal illnesses have made considerable progress in treatment thanks to medicines. Although there is no immediate and complete recovery, they have been suppressed to a great extent. Chapter 188: Becoming the center of global attention. Everyone in China is now admiring the Qingling potion. If someone on the internet says something bad about the Qingling potion, everyone will fight back with a united front. At this moment, countries far away on the other side of the ocean were also detonated by this news. At this point, China instantly became the center of global attention. Abroad, many people on forums have also started to criticize this matter. I'm really angry. Why aren't things like this made in our country? That's right, look at these Chinese people, how arrogant they are. Oh, I really want this potion, but these Chinese people are like vicious dogs guarding their food, they just won't let go. For a time, foreign forums were united in their hatred of a common enemy. Regardless of race or skin color, everyone stood on a united front and criticized China for releasing the Qingling potion. Not only were they unhappy that such a cross-century medicine was developed by the Chinese, they were even more unhappy with China's method of monopolizing the medicine. At this time, a wealthy man also posted a post on the forum, in which he angrily criticized China's actions and expressed his admiration for this potion. I support your statement. We also want this potion. But there's no way you can get this thing. Give it up, we can just watch it for fun, it won't reach us anyway. At this time, the comments below not only supported the rich man's idea, but also advised him to give up such ideas. In China, many foreign students have tried it, but others say that no one abroad can get this medicine. Humph. Anyway, I don't believe it. It's impossible for these people to not make money. The rich man was not convinced. He was a businessman and naturally knew the horrific power that this potion could bring. It would surpass any real economy or virtual currency and was unmatched by any industry. Therefore, he believed that it was impossible for the Chinese people not to make money and not give the medicine to foreigners because they wanted to obtain more huge profits. After posting this comment, the wealthy Angus sat in his villa at home, trimming his fine cigars while thinking about this question. According to his experience, the Chinese people would never give up such an opportunity to make money, so he didn't believe that the so-called limitation to China was nothing more than the money not being given in place. Thinking of this, Angus put down his cigar, took out his mobile phone, and quickly contacted several business partners and friends. A moment later, 3 or 5 more wealthy men came to Angus' villa. They were all dressed in suits and various custom-made brands. The total cost of their clothes was at least over 1 million. Angus, what's the matter that calls all of us together? Is your crappy company going to go bankrupt? Finally, diamond merchant Wilson walked in with a bottle of champagne in his hand and a smile on his face. "Wilson, are you kidding me? I'm not going to be funny with you. I called you here for serious business." "Well, for God's sake." Wilson smiled and spread his hands, then walked towards the crowd. Bang! Following the clinking of glasses, Angus took a sip of champagne and then looked at the few people with a serious look. "Everyone, I called you here today because I have something important to tell you. I believe you all know about the Qingling potion from China, right?" "Angus, I'm afraid everyone knows about this now." Wilson shook his head helplessly, drank the champagne in the glass in one gulp, and then continued. "But China only allows this medicine to be released within the country, and they only provide it to Chinese people. What can we do? Wilson, you have been doing business for so many years. Do you think there is anyone who would not make money?" At this time, Roth, who had been silent, looked at a few people meaningfully, and then looked at Angus with a smile. "Angus, don't hide it. Do you have any connections for calling us here this time?" As a result, everyone turned their attention to Angus. Angus nodded, then frowned and shook his head. Several people looked confused. What on earth did this mean? "Everyone, let me ask you a question. What do you lack the most?" Angus answered the question first, but asked it back to the crowd instead. "Money." Several people looked at each other and came up with the same answer. After all, they are all wealthy businessmen with assets worth billions. Some of them are business investors, while others are diamond dealers and car dealers. "Yes, that's what I mean." Angus stood up, poured himself some more champagne, raised his glass and said, "So, how about we go to China?" Wilson, Roth and others reacted quickly and nodded silently. Indeed, although China does not provide it to foreigners, they can try to buy it with a large sum of money. Who can resist the temptation of money? As long as the price is right, anyone can get this medicine. If this is true, after they bring the Qingling potion back, they can work together to copy and develop this potion. Since China is not planning to open up overseas markets, this matter is not only not a problem for people like them who are not short of money, but also a huge opportunity. In this way, as long as things go well, they will be able to quickly take control of the foreign market. By then, based on the miraculous effects of this potion, they can set a high price and will not worry about not having a market. For this kind of thing, even if they sell everything they have, there will be no shortage of people to buy it. As long as they can grow bigger slowly, they can cover the whole of Europe, or even the world. As businessmen, they quickly distinguished the pros and cons in their minds. This was a deal that was sure to make a profit. Yes. Let's go to China. Let's see if they really want to make money. I don't believe it anyway. Then, after sorting out the logic, diamond merchant Wilson stood up and raised a glass of champagne as well. "Add me in, I'll do this deal. Don't think about abandoning us. Since you're all here, everyone should take part. No more talking, I'll arrange a private plane right now, and we'll leave when we're ready." Afterwards, Roth and others also stood up and raised their champagne, feeling itchy in their hearts. No one would not be tempted by such a deal. A wise choice. Angus smiled slightly, and with the sound of a few glasses clinking, the group reached an agreement and prepared to go to China. Chapter 189. Sorry, not for sale. After a few days, the little guys got bored of playing in the countryside and watched TV every day. All they saw were reports of people lining up to get the Qingling potion. "Dad, can we go out and take a look?" A few little guys gathered around Yi Xian and pointed at the TV screen that was playing. "Yeah, no problem." Yi Xian simply nodded. He was also thinking about when to go over and take a look. When he heard the little guys had this idea, he immediately agreed. "Then go change your clothes and call Mom, we'll set off now." "Yeah." When the little ones saw that Yi Xian agreed, they nodded obediently and then skipped back to the room. Afterwards, Yi Xian and his group came to a nearby distribution point. Even though so many days have passed, there are still quite a few people here, all here to receive the refreshing potion. Although there were a lot of people, everything was still in order under the arrangement of the Yinhuang military department. Everyone lined up spontaneously and received the medicine in order. Because this time the medicine is available throughout China, everyone can get one, so no one is in a hurry and everyone is queuing up with peace of mind. It's amazing, I can only say it's amazing. I'm really here to have fun. My son has had urticaria for many years, but who would have thought that after taking this medicine, he was cured? It's really a good thing, and it's really rare to get something like this for free. We should thank the country for this. The country still cares about ordinary people like us. Many people were queuing up and chatting at this time. Of course, the content of the conversation was always focused on this medicine. Not only that, this time the country will not provide this medicine to foreign countries, but only to us Chinese residents. Well done. I saw the news before and learned that after the country distributed the medicine, those fake foreign devils who had gone abroad came back excitedly, but when people saw them, they drove them away on the spot. It's so satisfying. These snobs always think that the air abroad is better. They use the education resources built by the taxes paid by the people to make contributions abroad. If they were in ancient times, they would be traitors. People all agree from the bottom of their hearts that the country does not provide medicines to foreign countries. After all, there are too many people like this now. After going abroad to study, they don't plan to come back and even change their nationality. Now that they see China distributing this refreshing medicine, these people come running back happily. But when they check their nationality, they find out they are no longer Chinese. At this time, people from the Yi family were also queuing here, looking at this scene, and they were quite emotional. I never thought this would be free. Indeed, no matter how you put it, this is unexpected. If this costs money, we can earn trillions in just these few days. The people of the Yi family were also discussing enthusiastically at this time, but they did not stop queuing. After all, no matter what kind of family they were, at this time, they could only queue up. He Yang was chatting with several other disciples when he suddenly saw Yi Xian walking towards him. General Yi Long. He Yang was just slightly stunned for a moment, then he went up to greet him warmly and respectfully. General Yi Long, are you here to receive this Qingling potion as well? Yi Xian shook his head and said with a smile. No, we just came to take a look. It was when Yi Xian was speaking that He Yang and the people from the Yi family behind him noticed that it was not only Yi Xian who came, but also those cute little guys. Hello? Big brother who loves to eat rabbits. When the little guys saw He Yang, they greeted him, but this made the other He family members behind them burst into laughter. However, while everyone was talking and laughing, those foreign CEOs also came to China in a fuss. As soon as they got off the plane, they came to the injection site here. But these guys still abided by the rules and lined up obediently in front, but they also caused people around them to point fingers at them. Why are foreigners queuing up? If they can't get the tickets, it's just a waste of effort. Could it be that these guys have Chinese household registration, or are they from ethnic minorities? I don't think so. Judging from his attire, he must be from abroad. Although Angus and others could not quite understand what the Chinese residents around them were saying, they could tell in their hearts that they were just feeling strange about their arrival. After all, the official statement is that this medicine is only available to Chinese people, so it will be useless even if they line up properly. But Angus and his companions were quite confident at this moment. In this world, they had never seen anything that could not be solved with money. If there was, it must be because there was not enough money. Sorry sir, we have received regulations that we can only distribute the medicine to our local Chinese residents. There are no regulations regarding distributing it to foreign guests. Finally, after waiting in line for a while, it was Angus and others' turn to register and receive the items. However, when the staff saw the blonde-haired and blue-eyed foreigners in front of them, they were stunned at first, and then politely explained the relevant regulations. But this sentence obviously could not make Angus and his companions give up. They put on a sincere look and pleaded with the staff. Give us a chance, please. We chartered a plane from across the ocean just for this potion. I'm really sorry, gentlemen. We are not supplying other countries at the moment. This is an order and we must follow it. The staff also patiently explained to Angus and his friends, but this made Angus and his friends unhappy. Why? You are discriminating. In an instant, Roth on the side became furious and cursed the staff harshly. You are so selfish. You clearly said that China could distribute medicine, but when we came, you still didn't give us anything. We chartered a plane to come here. No matter what, you have to give me a few doses of this medicine today. As soon as Roth got angry, he was about to mess things up, but Angus seemed much calmer and stopped Roth first. Well, we have money, so why don't we buy your medicine? As Angus spoke, his eyes were still greedily staring at the potion placed behind him, flashing a red light. If they really got their hands on this medicine, it would not be difficult at all to take this opportunity to build a business empire abroad. Thinking of this, Angus and the diamond merchant Wilson felt indescribable excitement in their hearts, as if they had already imagined the subsequent scene. The two of them established an economy that was rich enough to rival a country. However, dreams are beautiful, but reality is cruel. The staff shook his head and continued. Chapter 190. Call your leader over to me. I'm sorry, we have this rule here, so we can't distribute it to you. Okay then. Call your leader over here. Angus said angrily, looking at the other staff member who was always unwilling to give it to him, so he directly asked the leader here to come over, and he started to have bad thoughts in his mind. People who hold official positions are most susceptible to corruption by money. This is true wherever they are. Moreover, they are all billionaires with assets worth billions, so they are not worried at all about not being able to get a small Qingling potion. But they didn't know that the person supervising the distribution of medicines here was not a middle-aged man with a big belly, but a dragon general wearing a military uniform with a star on his shoulder. Sure enough, not long after, a dragon general from the Yanhuang army came over, looked at the people here, and asked suspiciously, "What's wrong? What's going on?" "Mr. Officer, I am willing to pay 100 million to buy a few bottles of Qingling potion. I wonder if you are willing." Angus looked very proud at this time, and looked at the dragon general with a little disdain. However, when these words came out, other passers-by nearby were also shocked, and they all looked at these foreigners in disbelief. They didn't quite understand why they would spend 100 million just for a potion. Oh my god, these foreigners don't know what money is, why do they ask for 100 million right away? And even if it's 100 million, didn't they say they wouldn't give it to foreigners? Can he get it if he has the money? I don't think so. Even if we have a lot of money, the distribution of the medicine is supervised by the generals from the military. That's right. I trust the military. How could they give these outsiders a bargain just for money? Sure enough, just as these passers-by discussed, when the dragon general heard Angus' words, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Ha, you're so humorous, of course this won't work." The dragon general shook his head firmly, which shocked the foreigners. They looked at the dragon general in front of them in shock. "I think you are mistaken. I am not talking about 100 million renminbi. I am talking about 100 million US dollars. That should be enough. With 100 million US dollars, there is nothing you can't do? Stop talking." Then, Wilson on the side sneered at the dragon general and pretended to be relaxed, as if these hundreds of millions of dollars were nothing to him. 100 million. In US dollars. However, this time, everyone around was stunned. They opened their mouths wide and looked at these foreigners as if they were crazy. They couldn't believe that they actually offered such a price. Hey! Are you kidding me? You're offering such a high price. It's really hard to understand. We get this medicine for free. I can't even imagine what kind of number this is. These foreigners are so rich. People used to treat these foreigners as a joke, but what they didn't expect was that the price they offered was so high. This is really hard to accept. After all, no matter who they are, they got the potion for free. What shocked them even more was that the economic power of these foreigners was so strong that this number just popped out of their mouths casually. Sorry, it still doesn't work. But the dragon general still smiled and shook his head, then continued. It seems that you are new here and don't know. Let me tell you this. General Yilong has said that we will not supply foreign countries now. If you are sensible, I can let you leave on your own. But if you keep pestering me like this, I will have no choice but to ask you to leave. The tone of General Long changed from relaxed at the beginning to increasingly serious later on, with even a hint of coldness in his voice. Angus and his men were furious, but looking at the dragon general's momentum, how could they, alone outside, compete with him? But they were really unwilling to accept it. They didn't know if the other party was stupid. They had offered such a high price for something that was provided for free, but the other party was still like this. Here you go. At this time, other people also heard what the dragon general said, and they all applauded spontaneously, and the whole place was filled with thunderous applause. It feels so good. They deserve it for being so arrogant. Ha, we Chinese people will not work hard for you just for a few bucks. You still want medicine? You are dreaming. Get out of here now. Don't come to this place anymore, this place is not suitable for you. A few wealthy people listened to the cursing around them and could only leave quickly, knowing that they could not stay here any longer. They didn't expect that these Chinese people were so tough and just refused to accept such a large amount of money, making their plan a failure. Amidst the scolding, the few people had no choice but to leave in shame, not daring to stay here for a moment longer. Then, the dragon general looked to the other side, saw Yi Xian's family, and hurried over. General Yi Long. You are here. Yi Xian smiled and nodded. He was standing nearby and had seen everything that had just happened. He gently patted the dragon general on the shoulder. I just saw it all, well done. However, among the people queuing, the Yi family and others looked at Yi Xian, and after hearing what they had just heard, they suddenly felt a little strange, and they all looked at Yi Xian and asked, General Yi Long, did you develop this Qingling potion? Yes, my father developed it. Before Yi Xian could answer, the little guys next to him started talking excitedly. While talking, they looked at Yi Xian, their hearts filled with pride. It was General Yi Long who did it. Boom! Suddenly, everyone felt as if they were shocked from the inside out, and they couldn't believe that this was actually developed by Yi Xian. The people of the Yi family were even more shocked. They looked at Yi Xian in surprise and didn't even dare to breathe. It took them a long time to react. This world-renowned medicine was actually developed by Yi Long. He Yang couldn't sit still any longer at this point and began to doubt his life. He didn't expect that Yi Xian could do all these and had reached such a high level. Afterwards, after Yi Xian brought a few little guys to look around here, the little guys felt bored, pouted their little lips, and gently pulled Yi Xian's clothes. Chapter 191 I love both mom and dad. Dad, it's so boring here, can we go somewhere else to play? Dad, I want to go to a place with mountains and water, can you take us there? Well, there's nothing to do in the countryside. Let's go somewhere else. The little ones suddenly thought of the same thing and started clamoring for Yi Xian to take them to some other place to play, such as a place with mountains and water. All right. Yi Xian smiled dotingly. Since the little guys all said so, he had nothing to say and agreed immediately. When the Yi family next to them heard this, He Yang suddenly remembered something and quickly walked to Yi Xian and said, Mr. Yi, how about this? Our Yi family has a relatively large cruise ship there, and we can also serve as tour guides. What do you think? Okay, thank you for your help. Of course Yi Xian understood what they meant, but thinking that the little ones wanted to go, he agreed. He Yang and the others were delighted when they saw this, knowing that this was a good opportunity to greatly advance their relationship with Yi Xian. After returning home, the little ones were playing with the black cat. The little guys would hug and touch the black cat from time to time, but the black cat was very docile and only called out once in a while, and his voice was very gentle. Kitty, we're going out to play. Yi Shi held the black cat in her arms as if she was holding a child, and talked about what happened today. Xiaoxi, are you sure Mao understands? Yi Xiao on the side scratched his head curiously and asked while looking at the black cat in Xiaoxi's arms. I don't know, but I think that since the little black cat is playing with us, if we come across something fun, we should share it with the little black cat. Yeah, that's true, I support you. Yi Xiao nodded, then easily jumped onto the sofa in her slippers, picked up the remote control and turned on the TV. At this moment, a video was being broadcast on TV about someone using hypnosis to hypnotize kittens. The little guys were fascinated by the video and were watching it quite seriously. Meow. When the black cat saw this video, he just yawned lazily, as if he never took it seriously. Afterwards, the little guys started hypnotizing the black cat according to the method in the video. But no matter how the black cat tried to cooperate with them, it was never successful. The girls were quite disappointed and kept mumbling complaints. What kind of hypnosis is this? It doesn't work at all. Yi Xian, who was standing by, also found this scene funny. He stood up and walked towards the little guys, placing a pair of slender fingers in front of the black cat. 3, 2, 1. In less than 3 seconds, the black cat suddenly fell on the sofa and fell asleep. Dad is so awesome. The little guys didn't expect that Yi Xian could also hypnotize. They were surprised and happy, and they admired Yi Xian even more. Okay, Dad will show you one more trick. Yi Xian smiled gently, waved his fingers in front of Yi Jing's eyes, and then asked, Jingjing, who do you love most at home? Just after Yi Xian hypnotized Yi Jing, Wang Xinniao happened to come over and looked at the father and daughter curiously. I love them all. Just at this time, Yi Jing gave her answer, which was heard clearly by Wang Xinniao. For a moment, Yi Xian and Wang Xinniao smiled at each other. When the other little ones saw this, they immediately reacted and looked at Yi Xian with puffy mouths. Dad, you are so cunning. I won't let you hypnotize us again. Hypnosis. What hypnosis? Wang Xinniao wasn't quite sure what was going on, so she looked at the little ones and asked. Ha ha ha. The little guys stared at each other but didn't answer. Then, no one knew who couldn't hold back first, and they all burst into laughter in an instant. After playing for a while, Yi Xian took the little ones to bed early because they had to go out to play the next day. The next morning, as soon as the little guys got up, Yi Xian put sportswear on them. After all, they were going out to play, so they just needed to wear comfortable clothes. The sportswear on the little girls have some cartoon patterns on them. They look petite and cute when worn by these little girls, and their mischievous looks are so adorable. After washing up, Wang Xinyao combed the children's hair one by one. She herself was wearing a refreshing outfit, a white shirt on the upper body and striped sweatpants on the lower body. After preparing all this, everyone prepared to head towards the canyon. The little ones were very excited and couldn't wait to go on the cruise ship to play. "Brother Yi, I'll go with you too." When Longya learned that Yi Xian and others were going out, Longya packed up his equipment and stood in front of Yi Xian fully armed. "No, don't be so nervous. Just let Bai Ling take you out for a walk. Just think of it as a vacation." Looking at Long Shire's serious face, Yi Xian could only smile and shook his head, and asked Bai Ling to take him out for a walk. "Yes." Longya didn't hesitate at all, he softly agreed, then turned and left. "Why hasn't it arrived yet?" "That's right, it's so far away, I can't wait." "Dad, how long will it take us to get there?" In the car, a few little guys were looking at the scenery outside the window and looking at Yi Xian with pouting lips. They just felt that the road they had come was too long and they still hadn't reached the canyon. "Okay, be patient, we're almost there." Yi Xian smiled dotingly, pinched the little guys' faces, and then looked out the window. At this time, the vehicle had gradually driven to the suburbs, and the scenery outside the window became more and more beautiful. There were patches of grass swaying in the wind on both sides of the road, surrounded by green mountains and green waters. With the sound of the wind and the swaying grass, it was so beautiful that it made people intoxicated. "It's so beautiful here." At this time, the little ones quickly noticed the scenery outside. Originally, their attention was only on when they arrived, but at this moment, they were deeply attracted by the scenery and forgot their original destination. On the other side, He Yang and his team had already arrived at the edge of the canyon, and immediately began to put things onto the cruise ship without stopping. After doing all this, He Yang and others stood at the entrance under the cruise ship, respectfully waiting for Yi Xian's arrival. "Okay, now we just have to wait for Yi Long to come." Alas, I was really surprised that we were able to invite General Yi Long and his family over this time. Chapter 192 Top Quality Diamond. He Yang looked at the other people around him and murmured, even now, he still felt like this was a dream, it was really not real. After all, what is Yi Xian's identity? He is a dignified dragon general, and also the highest rank in the entire Yanhuang military, the only 5-star dragon general. In the past, Yi Xian guarded the southern border alone with a sword, and killed countless villains, forcing countless guys with wolfish ambitions to crouch outside the country's borders, and dared not to extend their claws again. Although we don't know if there will be anyone like Yi Xian in the future, he is definitely unprecedented. In history, even the famous generals with countless achievements did not have the courage like Yi Xian, who dared to guard a place alone. From any perspective, Yi Xian is a legend, a well-deserved legend. You must remember this. Pay your full attention and entertain General Yi Long well. Got it? Thinking of this, He Yang hurriedly reminded others that this could not be taken lightly. General Yi Long would be coming as a guest today, so hospitality and etiquette were absolutely essential. "Don't worry, Brother Yang." Several He family brothers and sisters around nodded heavily. They knew the importance of the guests they were about to welcome. "Brother Yang, we all know that this person is the 5-star dragon General Yi Xian, and we have heard of this legend a long time ago. Yes, this is a true hero. He was so heroic against the enemy at that time. Now, not only has he developed this medicine, but he is also distributing it for free. This is really incredible. You know what, this potion is too magical. There is so much hype on foreign forums right now. Everyone wants a copy of this potion, but General Yi Long has to say it's really a relief. It will not be provided to foreign countries at all." Speaking of this potion, several He family members nearby had just received it a few days ago. Now they have experienced the magic of this potion and suddenly have endless topics to talk about. "I really don't know how General Yi Long developed this kind of medicine. When I was practicing martial arts in my early years, I had some hidden illnesses that even the best doctors couldn't cure. However, after drinking this, I was cured overnight. Almost. When I woke up the next day, I felt like the world I saw was completely different. Damn it, I've always been short-sighted. Come on, nowadays, you have to undergo surgery to treat your eyes, but yours has been cured by medicine, so don't be ungrateful. By the way, I don't know if you've heard that there seems to be some people overseas who are still eager to make a move, and they seem to still have great ambitions for this Qingling potion. As they were talking, a young man's eyes suddenly lit up and he remembered a piece of news he had heard before. I heard from others before that many foreigners came to various port cities, and they all tried their best to get this potion. Don't worry, it's impossible. The other young man shook his head, full of confidence about this matter. As everyone knows, this medicine is distributed by the top brass or elites of the Yanhuang military. If anyone dares to have evil ideas here, will he be able to escape? That's right. I also believe that Yi Long will not give them what they want. This will piss these guys off to death. They used to blockade us all the time, but now we can finally give it back. As they talked about this, their blood boiled and they became more and more excited, but just then Yi Xian and others got out of the car and walked towards the cruise ship. Ahem. He Yang on the side coughed quickly, his face covered with sweat, and pointed in the direction of Yi Xian to everyone. Attention! Stop talking, Yi Long is coming. After hearing Yi Yang's reminder, several disciples finally reacted, trembled slightly, and looked towards Yi Xian. General Yi Long, you are here. He Yang first wiped the sweat from his head, then walked towards Yi Xian and greeted him respectfully. General Yi Long, we are all ready and waiting for you. He Yang greeted everyone with a smile, pointed to the yacht, and invited Yi Xian and others to get on board. Great! I can finally go up. When the little ones heard that they could go up, they jumped for joy. Great, Mom and Dad, let's go up quickly. Looking at this beautiful cruise ship, the little ones couldn't help themselves anymore and pulled Yi Xian and Wang Xinyao to go on it. General Yi Long is so blessed. When Yi Yang saw this warm and harmonious family, a sincere smile appeared on his face, and then he quickly arranged for other people around to go up and entertain them. Not long after we got on board, the sound of a light flute was heard and the cruise ship slowly started moving. Everyone leaned against the fence, feeling the boat sailing against the wind on the water and the cries of monkeys in the surrounding mountains. It felt as if the monkeys on both sides of the river were crying non-stop and the boat had passed through thousands of mountains. Sitting on the cruise ship and gazing up at the beautiful views of the mountains, they felt for the first time how insignificant they were. After watching for a while, the little guys sat on the small dining table beside the fence, eating the delicious snacks prepared by the He family, but suddenly they noticed a decoration on the table next to them. When the little guys saw this thing, their eyes suddenly lit up and they were all attracted to it. Wow! It's so beautiful. What is this? He Yang smiled, followed the gazes of the little ones, and continued to explain. Girls, this thing is called crystal. It is a mineral crystal. Although it looks good, it is nothing compared to diamonds. Hey, what Dad gave us is also very nice. However, the little guys still couldn't hear any big difference, but suddenly their eyes lit up and they remembered that they still had the diamonds that Yi Xian gave them. Ding ding ding. We still have this. Suddenly, Yi Jing took out a large diamond. The other little guys did the same, holding the diamond in their hands, afraid that they would lose it at any time. This. For a moment, He Yang and Mr. He on the side looked at the diamond and felt unwell all of a sudden. There was an indescribable shock in their hearts, but they didn't know what to say. Although the two are not experts, they do have some knowledge about diamonds. The diamonds in the hands of the little ones are not simple at all. Putting aside the size, whether it is the cut, purity, or color, they are all top-notch. Chapter 193 What are you going to do? The two men looked at each other, and both of them were stunned, their pupils slightly contracted, and even their bodies were still shaking. The price of a diamond like this is already sky-high. No matter who you are, seeing the price of this diamond, I'm afraid they will stop in their tracks. However, Yi Xian actually gave one to each of the little guys. What does this mean? Yi Xian is not short of money at all. Such a large-scale act was indeed a bit scary, but thinking that it happened to General Yi Long, the two men just swallowed their saliva and quickly accepted this reality. However, at this moment, something happened to the cruise ship and the hull suddenly shook violently. Yi Jing lost his balance and the diamond in his hand first fell to the ground, and then as the ship tilted, it fell into the water. It all happened so fast that everyone was stunned, but they were not able to care about so much now. They were all looking for a place to stand firmly to avoid falling on the deck. Only after the boat was stable did He Yang look towards Yi Jing. Are you all okay? Brother, my diamond is gone. Hearing this, everyone's eyes widened, and they looked at the girls in disbelief, their hearts trembling. This is not as simple as dropping a stone. This is a diamond, a genuine top-grade diamond. Yi Jing was also anxious at this time, holding the railing helplessly, but didn't know what to do. What's up, little sister? Where did the diamond go? He Yang and others rushed over and asked Yi Jing about the diamond. I didn't stand firmly and the diamond fell into the water. As he spoke, Yi Jing realized that he might not be able to get it back, and his tone suddenly became a little depressed. However, at this moment, everyone around was stunned. Immediately afterwards, a complex emotion surged in everyone's hearts: horror, fear, shock, and so on. After all, this is at least hundreds of millions of diamonds, and they did not help General Yi Long to take good care of his daughter. Thinking of this, He Yang gritted his teeth and prepared to jump into the water. However, just when He Yang stepped on it and was about to jump, Yi Xian happened to walk over. When he saw He Yang's movements, he was stunned. He Yang, what are you doing? General Yi Long, a diamond just fell down. We are not far away yet. I want to see if I can fish it out. Looking at the vast ocean of water below, He Yang felt a surge of self-blame. He had invited General Yi Long to be his guest, yet something like this happened. General Yi Long, I'm so sorry, we just didn't react in time, I'll go get it now. Afterwards, He Yang told Yi Xian the whole story. The other members of the He family on the boat also came over and sincerely apologized to Yi Xian and others. It's okay. We can't find it if we go down now. The water is too vast. There's nothing we can do. However, Yi Xian smiled and waved his hands, without any blame in his expression. Besides, the current is fast and there might be danger. Forget about the diamonds. Money can never compare to people. In an instant, Yi Xian's 2 sentences left everyone speechless. Everyone was moved. It seemed that General Yi Long was indeed General Yi Long, worthy of being the chivalrous man they called him. But even so, everyone was still in a low mood. After all, this was something very valuable. Seeing everyone like this, Yi Xian didn't say anything, but just smiled and gave a few words of advice. Dad, I didn't hold it firmly just now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for bothering everyone. Yi Jing also came over at this time, threw herself into Yi Xian's arms, and apologized to everyone. It's okay, it's just a stone, Daddy will find you another one later. Yeah. Thanks, Dad. With Yi Xian's comfort, Yi Jing soon felt fine again, and skipped off to see the scenery with the other little ones. At this time, Mr. Yi Tianhe walked over, looked at Yi Xian respectfully, and asked in a low voice. Mr. Yi, are you going to attend the 8 Directions discussion meeting? Yi Xian was stunned when he heard this, spread his hands innocently and said with a smile. I'm not from one of the 8 great families, so why should I participate? Ah? He Tian was stunned for a moment, looked at Yi Xian in horror and asked. You're not? Yi Xian smiled and nodded. He really had nothing to do with these 8 families. This. Mr. Yi, I thought Yi Xian was just your alias, and you should be from one of the 8 major families, but I didn't expect. When Yi Tian said this, he was even more surprised. Their He family had originally thought so. Logically speaking, only people from the 8 major families could possess such power. But unexpectedly, Yi Xian has nothing to do with the 8 major families. The others who were listening were also shocked, and then fell into silence. So are you guys planning to attend the 8 Directions discussion meeting? Seeing that the He family members were quite enthusiastic about this matter, Yi Xian asked casually. The He family members all laughed bitterly upon hearing this. Apart from the people from the 8 major families, the others who could go to the 8 Directions Forum were all the most powerful officials in China. How could it be their turn? General Yi Long, our He family is not going to join in the fun. He Tian smiled awkwardly. After all, what virtue or ability did their He family have? Such an event was still too far away from them. Yi Xian also smiled and said nothing, then took the little ones to play for a while. After what happened just now, the little guys are now very careful on the boat, fearing that the shaking like just now will happen again. Although it may not be a big deal, it is still quite scary. After playing for a while, the water surface became relatively calm, and everyone enjoyed the water view and the fun of sailing. When the time was almost up, Yi Xian and Wang Xinyao took the kids away, and the Yi family saw them off respectfully until Yi Xian and the others got on the car. At the same time, on the other side, Bai Ling was taking Longshi and the others out for a stroll. As they walked, they came to a shopping mall. This scene is really funny. Bai Ling is just a little girl, followed by Longshi and a group of people. If you don't know, you might think it's some kind of lady going out, and she actually brings so many bodyguards with her. Hey, Wood, how about I go show you some clothes? Bai Ling saw them arriving at the mall, turned around and looked at Longshire and said that she was going to take them shopping and buy some clothes or something. Chapter 194 Nothing to be afraid of. Need not. But Ryuya refused without any hesitation. Although his tone was not as cold as before, there was no emotion in it. Snort. Seeing this, Bai Ling snorted coldly. Since they didn't want to go, she was too lazy to go in and have a look. Sitting on a chair nearby, Bai Ling took out her cell phone and boredly flipped through the international bounty list, ready to see what the current price of Longshire and others was. But after just a few glances, Bai Ling's expression changed completely. She looked at Longshire in disbelief and asked in a daze. Longya, when did your bounty increase so much? However, Longya did not speak, but looked at the sky expressionlessly, as if he did not hear Bai Ling's words. Sister Bai, this is what happened. The boss saw a Chinese playboy bullying men and women everywhere in a foreign country. He didn't want to intervene, but he couldn't stand it anymore, so he killed the guy. Seeing that Longya didn't say anything, a young man behind Longya walked to Bai Ling's side. Fearing that the two would fight again, he explained on behalf of Longya. But that person seems to have some influence in China, so he offered a high reward for the boss. The price he offered is much higher than before. As a result, many people took the order, and we enjoyed it. We killed them all and got a lot of rewards. But as the saying goes, people are afraid of being famous just like pigs are afraid of being fat. Now, everyone thinks that the boss did it alone, and all kinds of legends are emerging, so the reward amount is getting higher and higher. After hearing what the young man said, Bai Ling fell silent. Her eyelids twitched slightly as she looked at Longshire and others in surprise. My goodness, this is totally fishing, no one else can do this. After hesitating for a while, Bai Ling looked down at the current bounty amount for Longshire, and looked at Longshire with a smile. Hee, Mu too, if I kill you, will it? You're not qualified yet. However, Longshire did not remain silent this time. Instead, he suddenly stared at Bai Ling with eyes as cold as a poisonous snake, and his body exuded a terrifying aura. Hey! How come you can't take a joke, you piece of wood? Also, how do you know I'm not qualified? I tell you, that's because I'm not serious yet. Otherwise, who are you? Bai Ling was also so angry that her mouth puffed up, and she retorted a few words with disdain. Oh, so you mean you want to give it a try? Longya also stood up and rubbed his fists gently, like a ferocious beast ready to attack and bite at any time. In an instant, the atmosphere, which had been relatively relaxed, suddenly became tense, and it was clear that a fight was about to break out. When the people behind saw this scene, their eyelids began to twitch wildly. They couldn't let the fight start here. If these two people really started fighting here, no one would be able to stop them, and who knows how big a news story it would cause. Sister Bai. Sister Bai. Don't worry, if you need money, we have it here. Seeing that the situation was not good, the young man quickly grabbed Bai Ling, and the others also grabbed Longshire. This place was different from other places, and they must not fight. Humph. I am too lazy to bother with a piece of wood like you. Bai Ling turned away angrily, too lazy to pay attention to Longshire anymore. I'm at your service any time. Longya didn't say much. He just left a few words and walked aside. Everyone looked at each other in confusion and wiped their sweat. Fortunately, the two did not fight after all. If a fight really breaks out, it will be difficult to deal with. With their strength, no one can stop them. Since we've almost finished shopping, let's go back. Longya glanced at the time and decided it was time to go back. Okay, Brother Long. Everyone nodded, and now Bai Ling walked in front. Have fun, don't get lost. Bai Ling stopped to look at Longshire and the others, yawned lazily, and then continued to walk forward. After returning home, the little ones were playing with the little black cat. After such a long time, the black cat had become very familiar with the little ones and was more affectionate with them than with other people. Yi Xian, on the other hand, was sitting on the sofa beside him with a laptop on the table. He was discussing some matters with Long Fei, Sun Ji, and others. Knowing that Yi Xian was busy with something, the children here didn't make a fuss. They just played by themselves and tried not to disturb Yi Xian. The little ones either watched TV, played with the black cat, or played with Wang Xiniao's phone. Oh my god! But just when everything was quiet and harmonious, Yi Jing here suddenly exclaimed, breaking the peace. The other little guys immediately looked at Yi Jing and asked curiously. Sister Jingjing, what's wrong with you? Looking at the curious eyes of the other girls, Yi Jing finally calmed down, pointed to a piece of news on her mobile phone, and explained to the other girls. According to the news, a leopard escaped from the zoo here, and it has been there for several days. After hearing this, the other little guys were also a little scared. After all, the leopard is a very ferocious animal, and it is a carnivore, which makes people terrified. This is actually okay. Yi Xia hesitated for a while, rubbed his head gently, and felt that this was not a big deal. It's okay, there are police officers outside. Yes, and there are uncles wearing the same military uniform as Dad, they will all protect us. Sister Jingjing, let's not worry. It will be fine. Maybe this cheetah is just a herbivore, not a meat eater. The other little ones didn't take it seriously, thinking that there were many people protecting them and there was no need to be afraid of the leopard that had escaped. All right. Yi Jing rolled her eyes and thought that there really was nothing to be afraid of. That's it, let's just pretend we know nothing and not bother Dad. Well, since we have nothing to do here, why don't we just take the kitten out to play together? As he was talking, Yi Jing came up with an idea. He was bored of staying here and thought about going out to have a look. Maybe he could come across something interesting there. Okay. Let's go. Soon after Yi Jing said this, he immediately got the support of the other little guys. The little girls hit it off immediately, and after some preparation, they took the little black cat outside. Chapter 195: The Terrifying Little Black Cat. Although Mom and Dad aren't here, it's still fun. Yi Xia had a smile on his face at this moment. It had been a long time since he had felt this way and he found it quite interesting. By the way, we haven't been here yet. A few little girls were walking with the kitten in their arms. As soon as they came out, they saw a forest nearby, a place none of them had ever been to. Then let's go and take a look. Good. The little guys were all very curious about this place. After discussing for a few words, they continued walking towards the nearby forest. Rustle, rustle. However, at this time, the little girls did not hear the sound coming from the forest. The sound was rustling, like some animal moving in the bushes. No one knew what it was. Then, a pair of vertical pupils stared at the girls and licked them with their tongues, as if they were about to welcome a rich meal. But at this moment, the little black cat, who had been quiet, suddenly discovered it, opened its sleepy eyes, and walked silently into the jungle. At the same time, two voices, one male and one female, were heard from a tree not far away. This beast is not common at all. Wood, have you seen it? How about we eat it tonight? As he spoke, Bai Ling had already drawn the knife from his waist and was looking fanatically at the faintly restless jungle not far away, where a cheetah was walking. This cheetah has a nimble posture and cold eyes, and is looking for its prey everywhere. Come on, this stuff doesn't taste good either. But just when Bai Ling was eager to try and even drooling, Long Shi, who had been silent, said something lightly. How do you know? Bai Ling looked at Long Shi in confusion, wondering how this guy knew everything. Of course, I've eaten it. Although I managed not to spit it out, the experience wasn't that good. Bai Ling was silent again, the corners of her mouth twitching slightly, and she spoke to Long Shi in a bad mood. Then tell me, is there anything else you haven't eaten? People. Long Ye said this coldly, but his expression was very serious. It was obvious that this was the answer he got after careful consideration. Well, never mind you, the old rules, let's see who's faster. Seeing that the distance between them and this guy was imminent, Bai Ling was about to take action, but was stopped by Long Shi. You don't have to do anything. Why? Bai Ling wanted to ask what the reason was, but Long Shi waved his hand, still looking leisurely, and looked towards the entrance to the woods on the other side. Both of them focused their attention here, and saw a little black cat walking out slowly and going straight towards the cheetah. The cheetah was stunned. It never expected that, as a relatively high being in the food chain and the backbone of the cat family, it was actually ignored by a black cat. Ah! Suddenly, the cheetah was stunned at first, then roared angrily and walked towards the little black cat. Relying on its ferocious bite force and impressive speed, the cheetah did not take the little kitten in front of it seriously at all and only wanted to show its majesty as the king of the jungle. Soon, the cheetah recognized the black cat clearly. Based on its size and smell, it determined that it did not pose a threat to it. It immediately pounced on it without hesitation. Although the black cat doesn't have much meat, the cheetah will not tolerate any animal provoking it like this. It will tear the black cat's body into pieces and use the black cat's flesh and blood to defend its own honor. However, what the cheetah did not expect was that the little black cat did not retreat in fear. Instead, it instantly stretched out its claws and grabbed the cheetah's face with one claw at lightning speed. Ah! The black cat did not hold back at all during this attack, leaving a trail of blood marks on the cheetah's head. The depth of the wounds was shocking. The cheetah's screams made the entire jungle seem to tremble. Countless birds were frightened and fled in all directions, wailing and flapping their wings. In just a moment, the fight between the cat and the leopard had just begun, but it had already broken the silence of the entire jungle. The cheetah roared in pain again, its pupils suddenly turned blood red, and it looked at the little black cat in front of it ferociously. It could not accept being hurt by such a little thing, so it attacked the little black cat again. But the black cat was not afraid at all. It dodged with its agile body and attacked the cheetah with its sharp claws frantically. Soon, the cheetah's originally smooth fur was covered with bloodstains. Each scar was very deep, and some even revealed the bone. On the surface, this battle seemed to be a battle of great disparity in strength, but due to the powerful strength of Black Cat, it quickly turned into a one-sided massacre. After half an incense stick of time, the cheetah's body began to shake. At this time, it opened its pupils wide in fear and looked in disbelief at the black cat in front of it, which was licking its bloody paws with a look of disdain. Feeling the severe pain from wounds all over its body, the cheetah was really scared. It didn't understand how this creature that looked so small could have such terrifying speed and attack power. The scars all over its body are already shocking, but the little black cat is not injured at all, not even a single hair has fallen off. Bai Ling and Longshire looked at this scene with unspeakable shock in their eyes, and a tremor and fear from the depths of their souls quickly spread up. They were very familiar with this black cat. The moment the fight started, it had awakened their previous memories. This little black cat, which looks docile and close to the little girls, was once a nightmare to all of them. The incomparably ferocious aura and the memories of brutalizing them suddenly flooded into his mind like a tide. After a moment, the cheetah no longer had any of its previous pride, and staggered to the other side as if running for its life. It knew that if it didn't run away, the little black cat might really kill it. This was the fear it felt instinctively. While running away, the cheetah looked back from time to time, worried that the little black cat would follow it at any time. Meow. Here, the little black cat did not chase after them. Instead, it licked the blood off its claws and between its claws, then returned to the little guys. Kitty, why are you running around? We've been looking for you for a long time. After the little guys discovered that the little black cat was missing, they began to look for it everywhere. Only when they saw the little black cat walking out of the woods did they feel relieved. Chapter 196 Heading to Zhongzhou. Meow. The little black cat cried out in grievance, without any of the ferocity it had just shown when facing the cheetah. It could be said that it had no temper at all. Bad kitty. Don't run away again, we're going home. Yi Shi and the others didn't blame them much, they just gently picked up the little black cat and skipped towards home. At the same time, the fire brigade and experts are still nervously searching for the cheetah's traces. After all, the cheetah is outside, and they are afraid that it may hurt people or be harmed by some lawless people. Ah! However, while walking in a jungle, the leading fire brigade staff suddenly heard a roar coming from inside. Suddenly, everyone was stunned, and then quickly rushed towards the direction where the sound came from. It was indeed the cheetah. This little guy is now dying, and he keeps making miserable roars from his mouth. As he loses blood and energy, he is becoming weaker and weaker. What's going on? Seeing this jaw-dropping scene, several firefighters were shocked. They looked at each other, no one knew what was going on. Although the cheetah's fighting power is not as good as that of lions and tigers, its speed and bite force are quite a joke. In this ordinary jungle, what kind of animal can hurt it? This poor little guy, when he saw people coming, actually revealed an expression of attachment and relief in his eyes. It's good to have more people. People are so cute, they have food and drink, and they are not in any danger. They are nothing like the little black cat we just met. Recalling the scene just now, the cheetah's already weak body twitched again, and even tears seeped out of the corners of its eyes. The firefighters reacted and realized that they could not delay any longer, so they quickly captured the cheetah. However, this put the animal research experts in a difficult position. At this time, in an animal research institute, an expert looked at the cheetah that had been anesthetized and had its wounds cleaned. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly and he muttered something. What kind of wild animal is this? My God, this fighting power is too strong, but this is a leopard, not a kitten. Strange, there was no hair from other animals at the scene, not even any blood. Could it be that this animal wasn't injured at all? Impossible, this is absolutely impossible, even if it's a sneak attack. Now, even the experts were disappointed. This was too absurd and not logical at all. Subsequently, various media and news outlets also issued notices, informing citizens not to worry anymore as the cheetah had been captured. Logically speaking, people should have felt relieved by now, but subsequent reports made people shudder. According to experts' reports, the leopard was beaten to death by an unknown creature in the jungle. Judging from the condition of the wound, it should be a cat. For a moment, people who saw the news were in an uproar, discussing the matter in various ways, and even speculating what kind of animal it was. Some people say it is a big tiger, some say it might be a liger, and even more exaggerated is that some people said that the cheetah beaten like this is a saber-toothed tiger. The whole city was in a state of panic at this time. Even the little ones in Wangxinya were a little scared when they saw the news. How terrifying! He can't even beat a cheetah. This can't be a monster. It's okay. Dad is here. Even monsters won't dare to bully us. Although the little ones said they were not afraid, they all snuggled up to Wangxinya, fearing that the monster would jump out at any time. The little black cat next to it is the culprit of all this, but now it is licking its paws as if nothing has happened. This well-behaved and cute little creature is so cute that no one can imagine that it is the culprit that made the cheetah autistic. Just at this time, Yi Xian had finished his meeting. While putting away his computer, he looked towards Wang Xinyo and the little ones. Your sister Long asked us to go to Zhongzhou. What do you think? Do you want to go? Think. When the children heard that they could leave here, they jumped up excitedly, grinned silly and came close to Yi Xian, asking when they could leave. Perhaps the reason for my excitement was partly due to my fear of the cheetah incident, but more importantly, I just wanted to go out and play. Hubby, come and look at this, this is what we just saw. At this time, Wang Xinyo also came over and handed the message received on her mobile phone to Yi Xian. It's about the cheetah during the day. The experts just issued a notice. It looks like a close call to me. Yi Xian took the phone curiously and looked at the notification, feeling it was a little strange. Then, Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and looked at Longshire beside him. Longshire immediately understood and nodded towards the little black cat who was licking its paw beside him. Yi Xian knew it now, but he didn't say it out loud. In the evening, Yi Xian took the little ones out to pick fruits and had a big meal. Their little stomachs were bulging. I'm so full. I don't want to leave here. Yi Xia burped and rubbed his belly contentedly. Then Xia, you just stay here and help Daddy look after the farm. I won't take you with me. I don't want it. When Yi Xia heard this, he immediately pursed his lips and refused to agree no matter what. Okay, Dad was just joking. How could I let you stay here alone? Seeing Xia's anxious look, Yi Xian also found it funny. Seeing that it was almost time, he let the little ones go to bed quickly. After all, they had to go to Zhongzhou the next day. The countryside is far away from the city, the air and temperature are very comfortable, and although the chirping of cicadas and birds can be heard from the mountains from time to time, it is a different kind of tranquility in the forest. That night, everyone slept soundly, including the little ones, who slept soundly around Yi Xian. The next morning, after Yi Xian and the others got up and packed their things, they had a simple breakfast. Tang Hao had already arranged the charter flight, so he came over and ate a few bites in a hurry. Afterwards, the group rushed to the airport in a lively manner and soon boarded the plane. The time in the air was neither long nor short, and everyone soon arrived in Zhongzhou. At Zhongzhou Airport, Long Fei, Sun Ji, and many other bosses had already arrived at the airport early, ready to welcome Yi Xian and others. Chapter 197, Installed Again. Although the scene here is not too big, those who came with Long Fei and Sun Ji are all dignitaries from Zhongzhou, and they can be considered to have prominent status in Zhongzhou. Soon, Yi Xian and others came out of the airport and left. A few little guys were jumping and skipping in front. When they saw Yi Xian in front of them at first sight, they immediately rushed up to him enthusiastically. Sister Long Fei. You're here. The children were very enthusiastic when they saw Long Fei again. After all, they had a very pleasant time getting along with Long Fei before. Little sisters, do you miss your sister? Long Fei chuckled and rubbed the heads of the little guys. Think. Sister misses you too. Afterwards, Long Fei was intimate with a few children for a while, and Yi Xian came over with Wang Xinyo and others, and said to Long Fei with a smile. That's great. The girls really like you. Hey, hello, master. Long Fei smiled playfully and waved at Yi Xian. Yi Xian also smiled. This girl is still the same as before, not at all embarrassed. Hey, you guys are here too. At this time, Long Fei noticed Long Shi, Bai Ling and others behind Yi Xian, and greeted them with a smile. Well, everyone is here, let's go to Villa number 1 in Huaqing Xingfu. Ah. As Yi Xian said this, Long Fei was stunned and looked at Yi Xian blankly. Master, don't tell me that you have a house here too? The bosses were also stunned. After all, this is the undisputed king of buildings in the entire Zhangzhou. What? I don't have my own house. I just felt bad for not having a place to stay in other places, so I asked people to build some villa areas or villa resorts all over the country. This way it will be more convenient. In response to Long Fei's question, Yi Xian smiled, waved his hand, and explained calmly. However, Yi Xian's words made everyone silent. My goodness, is this the top level of Versailles? Long Fei even covered his mouth, unable to utter a word. He thought to himself, damn it, his master has tricked him again. Okay, let's go, stop being in a daze. Yi Xian smiled and patted Long Fei's shoulder, then took the lead and walked forward with the little ones. Not long after, everyone arrived at Huaqing Star Mansion. Yi Xian's villa was the most luxurious and largest villa number 1 here, and it was also a super mansion known as the King of Buildings in Zhangzhou. As usual, the villa here is quite luxurious. It is a traditional single-family villa. In addition to the main house and the secondary house, both of which have huge spaces, there is also a huge garden and golf course. The area of the entire villa number 1 may be more than the total area of several surrounding villas. Master, you really know how to enjoy life. Long Fei looked at this luxurious house with her mouth twitching slightly. She didn't know how much shock her weak heart had received from everything her master said today. It's okay, mainly because I have a wife and children now, so it's more convenient. Yi Xian sipped his tea leisurely while speaking jokingly. I really admire you, master. Long Fei rolled his eyes and nodded, suddenly feeling that compared to his master, he had accomplished nothing, okay? By the way, is the Huaxia Academy of Sciences located in Zhengzhou? As he was speaking, Yi Xian suddenly remembered something and asked Wang Xinyao beside him. Well, yes. Wang Xinyao smiled and nodded, looking at Yi Xian curiously. What's wrong, husband, do you want to go and see? Yi Xian nodded, then stood up and smiled lovingly at the little guys. Girls, do you want daddy to take you to a nice place? A good place. The children were still teasing the little black cat when they suddenly heard Yi Xian say that he wanted to go out and play. They were a little tired after just getting off the plane, but they immediately became energetic again, with their little eyes shining, and they gathered around Yi Xian. Dad, where are we going? Yi Shi pulled on the corner of Yi Xian's clothes and smiled foolishly. You'll know when you get there. Without wasting any time, after everyone had packed up, Tang Hao drove the Hongqi L5 towards the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Yi Xian also took Wang Xinyao and a few little ones with him and drove out in 2 cars. As for the others, they stayed in the villa. Long Fei leisurely brewed a pot of tea, and tasted it slowly by imitating Yi Xian's way. Not to mention, she learned it quite well. Junior sister, don't you not like drinking tea very much? Seeing this, Sun Ji poured himself a cup of tea and sat next to Long Fei. Senior brother, you don't know this. Long Fei blinked and explained playfully. I studied finance with my master for such a long time, but I am still far behind him. I have learned everything I should have learned. Now I think that I can only learn how to drink tea from my master. Sun Ji was stunned after hearing this. He took a sip of tea in a daze and looked at Long Fei helplessly. Junior sister, I didn't realize it before, but now I see that you are really smart. Back to Yi Xian, not long after, everyone arrived at the road not far from the Chinese Academy of Sciences. The 2 girls, Wang Xinyao and Yi Yin and Yi Zi, were sitting in the back car, looking at the scenery outside the window with longing, and couldn't help but take a few more glances. After all, she was also doing research at the time and had been here once. It's just that when I was a graduate student, I was fortunate enough to follow my supervisor here. Otherwise, with her knowledge and research level, I don't know when I would have been able to come here. No matter what, this place is a holy place in the eyes of all Chinese scientific researchers, and it cannot be compared with anywhere else. Mom, where is this place? Yi Yin looked out the window curiously, wondering where this place was. This is the Chinese Academy of Sciences. There are some very talented researchers here. Oh. Yi Yin nodded as if he understood, but even though his mother said so, he still didn't quite understand where this place was. In the car in front, several other girls also asked Yi Xian what he was doing here. Dad, what are we doing here? Yeah, Dad, it doesn't look like there's anything fun here. Yi Xian pinched the little guys' faces and explained happily. Have you forgotten? The plane we tested before was right here. Let's go check out our plane today, okay? Good. When the little guys heard that it was the super powerful fighter jet from last time, they suddenly became excited and looked at Yi Xian with their pouting lips. Dad, can we have fun this time? I really want to play. We didn't get to play last time. Dad, I'll just play for a little while, just for a little while, okay? Looking at the three pairs of eyes full of longing, Yi Xian smiled helplessly. I can't play it now. Maybe someone has taken it apart. Chapter 198 Unwelcome. All right. Hearing that it might be dismantled, the little guys felt regretful. They could only hope for better luck and be able to catch up. Soon, the group's vehicle arrived at the gate of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. The security guard at the door saw the red flag coming towards him and was immediately shocked. Just by looking at the car, he could tell that the person coming was no ordinary person. After the car stopped, Tang Hao opened the window and handed a red book to the security guard. The security guard nodded respectfully, took Hong Bin with both hands, took a look at him, then quickly returned him and gestured for him to pass. The security guard's eyelids twitched wildly as he watched the red flag driving into the Academy of Sciences. If the driver was of such an identity, then what would the identity of the young man sitting there be? As for the car behind, the driver also took out a red book. The security guard did not dare to be negligent when he saw it and let it pass quickly. After parking the car, Yi Xian and his family walked around the Academy of Sciences. Although this is a place purely for scientific research, the scenery is picturesque, the air is fresh, and there are various trees planted around, some of which are even dozens of meters high. After strolling around for a while, Yi Xian took Wang Xinyo and a few little ones directly to the 6th-generation aircraft research room. As Yi Xian and others walked in, many researchers inside were looking at them, with confusion written all over their faces. No matter what, this is the top research institute in the whole of China. How could an outsider enter casually? What's more exaggerated is that he even brought his wife and children with him? At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded, not knowing what was going on. They looked at each other, with unhappy expressions. Wow! So many machines! So many people! A few little guys walked into the research institute, looked at the dazzling array of machines and researchers in front of them, as well as the vast venue filled with various RD models, and suddenly became delighted. Hey, you guys, stop running around and come back quickly. Just when the little ones were about to run in, Wang Xinyao quickly called them. This is a research institute, we can't run around. Yeah. We got it. The children nodded, looking at Wang Xinyao's serious expression. They also knew that they couldn't mess around in this place. On the other side, several staff members were discussing something. Suddenly, they saw the little girls here. Their faces darkened and they walked towards Wang Xinyao and others. Hey! What are you doing? This is a key laboratory. How can you bring a child in here? That's right, there are no rules at all. Which unit are you from? Also, who asked you to come? What are you doing here? These researchers looked impatient and their tone was not very pleasant. After all, an outsider bringing a child in like this was like walking into their own back garden, and they couldn't stand it. When these people said this, Tang Hao next to them was unhappy. He stepped forward and spoke to them coldly. Who told you to speak in such a tone? It's best to ask clearly before doing anything. However, facing Tang Hao, several young researchers still refused to buy it. Seeing that these people were still quite stubborn, he became angry and spoke harshly. What's wrong? I just said who asked you to come. Is there a problem with that? We don't know what your purpose is here. What if the secrets are leaked? Tang Hao looked at the young researcher with a look of disdain, and the other party's words were not very pleasant, so he was too lazy to say anything more. He took out the red book from his body and slammed it on the table in front of him. Go, call your leader over to me. Several people were frightened by Tang Hao's move. They hesitated for a while, then picked up the red book on the table and moved it away. This turned out to be a 5-star dragon school, which was only one step away from the rank of general. For a moment, several people felt a sense of fear in their hearts. Looking at Yi Xian behind them, they couldn't help but wonder in their hearts. If Tang Hao is Long Xiao, doesn't this mean that this person is Long Jian? Holding the red book in their hands, several people's hearts trembled and their attitudes changed slightly. Okay, we misunderstood. I'm so sorry. Well, leaders, if you want to take a look, feel free to do so. Just be careful not to damage the equipment. After finishing speaking, several researchers returned to their own research tables. Others who had just seen this scene began to whisper to each other. It's really annoying. I don't know why these military guys are here again. They obviously don't understand the technology very well, but they often give blind orders. Yes, that's the truth. I think we should take good care of it. At least don't let these military people disturb our work. It would be great if everyone can do their job. That's great. This guy from the military even brought his wife and children with him. Does he think we're a tourist attraction? For a moment, everyone looked at Yi Xian, feeling a little aggrieved. It looked like another person who knew nothing was coming over here. It's fine if they come to take a look and care about the research progress, but what they fear most is that they will encounter these people giving blind orders and messing up something. Thinking of this, the researchers all looked at the disassembled 6th-generation aircraft model on the side, and their eyes unconsciously revealed a burst of admiration. This is a treasure. I'm afraid these people will make excessive demands. If the model aircraft is taken away from them, they won't be able to accept it. When these researchers thought of this model aircraft, their eyes were filled with hostility towards Yi Xian and others. After a while, several academicians and professors came in from outside, muttering to themselves as they walked. I must have a good talk with them when I come back this time. Yes, although young people are energetic, they still don't think things through carefully. This requires us old men to remind them more often. Several people spoke earnestly and placed high hopes on the young people in the research institute. After all, even if they had great abilities, they were already old, and the future still belonged to these young people. At the same time, in the research institute, Yi Xian was taking a few little ones to look around. When they encountered something they didn't understand, Yi Xian carefully explained it to them. Originally, the girls were not very interested in these things, but as Yi Xian gave a vivid explanation, they became interested and began to listen with great interest. Soon afterwards, Yi Xian brought a few little ones to the operating table where the disassembled model aircraft were placed. What a shame! It's really been demolished. Chapter 199. This was made by General Yi Long. We really can't play anymore. Dad, do we still have a chance to play? Seeing the slightly regretful looks on the little guys' faces, Yi Xian squatted down, smiled dotingly, and answered softly. Don't worry, there will definitely be a chance. Aha! The little ones nodded, knowing that their father would not go back on his word, and then reached out to touch the model airplane. However, at this moment, several researchers from the other side came over and gave serious instructions to Yi Xian and others. Leader, are you not going to do anything? These are all very valuable research materials. Leader, you may not know that this is a milestone in our research in the field of China aviation. Please pay attention to it. This is the result of our hard work. Looking at the serious expressions of several young researchers, Yi Xian smiled helplessly. However, this smile was not a big deal. Several researchers felt even more resentful towards Yi Xian, and they lost the last bit of goodwill towards this military backbone. In the minds of these researchers, although the people in the military are all heroes and worthy of admiration, they are too rough in many places and do not cherish their research results at all. And Yi Xian's helpless smile just now was regarded as disdain by several researchers. They thought that Yi Xian was sneering at their research results. How could they feel good about it? Seeing this, the little guys also realized something was wrong. They gently pulled Yi Xian's clothes and whispered to Yi Xian. Dad, these brothers and sisters don't seem to welcome us. We won't cause any trouble for them, will we? Dad, did we do something wrong? Yi Xian looked at the timid looks of the little guys and quickly tried to comfort them, but he did not get angry with the researchers. After all, he also knew that those who could come here were the top researchers and the pillars and hope of the country. The reason why they behaved like this just now was only because they were worried that the research materials would be damaged. It was always on their mind, so this could be considered a good thing. Not long after Yi Xian had calmed down the little guys, he was about to take a closer look at the model aircraft when several professors and academicians walked in. Seeing Yi Xian introducing the model aircraft to some little ones in the research institute, several old scholars and professors were stunned. Excitement flashed in their old pupils, and they hurriedly walked forward. Wang Xinyao, who was standing by, also noticed these professors and was surprised. These were all famous professors. If one of them was taken out individually and placed in the international arena, he would be admired by countless people. Professor, you're back. When the researchers saw the professors coming back, they first went up to say hello. They also wanted to talk about what happened with Yi Xian just now. Their words didn't carry much weight, so perhaps the professors could go up and say something. But what surprised them was that several coaches just ignored them, as if they didn't see them, and walked directly towards Yi Xian and others. General Yi Long, why are you here? You didn't even tell us in advance. Yes, we didn't even have a welcome ceremony for you. We are so sorry. General Yi Long, you still look as handsome as ever, you are indeed a genius of your generation. Several professors greeted excitedly and introduced the experiment to the researchers next to them. They were all talking excitedly, even more excited than if the experiment had succeeded. Young men, let me tell you, this is a 5-star dragon general, the highest rank in the Yanhuang military, Yi Longjiang Yi Xian. 5-star dragon general? When the young researchers heard that this person was actually a 5-star dragon general, they were a little surprised. He looked too young, and he was wearing casual clothes and came with his wife and children, so no one recognized him. But even though they were surprised at the other party's identity, these researchers were still not convinced. Putting other things aside, it was fine for them to come for a visit, but bringing their entire family along was a bit too much. Moreover, he just touched the model airplane, which was extremely important to them, so they all had no good impression towards Yi Xian. The old professor at the side couldn't hide the excitement and joy in his hearts when he said this, and continued to introduce it to these researchers. Everyone, you probably don't know that General Yi Long is not just a talented general, but also a master whose academic ability is far superior to all of us. A few years ago, General Yi Long's theoretical and practical knowledge was far beyond our reach. Now, I'm afraid the gap has widened even further. Listening to the old professor's serious and excited introduction, these researchers were a little dazed. Could it be that General Long, the leader of the Yanhuang military, actually had research interests in scientific research? Professor, how come we don't know this? One of the female students was stunned and asked in confusion. It seems like I need to give you young people a good talk. Don't let a textbook like figure stand in front of you and you still don't know who this person is? Let me tell you, this model airplane was made by General Yi Long, and even our blueprints are his. What? When these words came out, all the researchers were stunned and looked at Yi Xian in disbelief. How could they believe that this was true? Professor, you are serious, right? This is not a joke. You must be joking. I am such an old man, and I am still joking with you. Don't disbelieve me. They say that family disgrace should not be made public, but I am not afraid of losing face. I will be honest with you. Although it is a bit embarrassing, everything we are researching now is what Yi Long will leave behind. Now you all know how far the gap between us and General Yi Long is, right? The professor's tone was very serious, and his words carried a lot of weight when they came out of his mouth. Now, these researchers had no choice but to believe it. They all opened their mouths wide and looked at Yi Xian in horror. The person they were discussing behind their backs just now and felt resentful about was actually such a person. Even these professors were so respectful to Yi Xian. This was something they had never heard of or seen before. No one doubted the truth of it. The excited looks of several professors just now were enough to explain it all. However, even now, the researchers feel a little self-deprecating. What so many of them have been researching day and night might just be something that someone else thought of by chance, and the process is not difficult at all. Chapter 200, Pointing to Jiangshan. On the other hand, even after so much time and with so many people working overtime on the research, the progress is still very slow. The researchers were all dumbfounded. As the old saying goes, comparing yourself to others will make you feel dreadful. This is absolutely true. In addition to being surprised, the researchers also sincerely admired Yi Xian. Yi Xian was destined to be an existence that they would never be able to surpass in their lifetime. Wang Xinyao was even more surprised at this time. She knew that her husband also had some scientific research knowledge, and she had seen Yi Xian flying the fighter jet with her own eyes before. Now, after listening to the professor's introduction, Wang Xinyao realized that what she had seen was only the tip of the iceberg of Yi Xian in this field. General Yi Long, we were wrong just now. We didn't know you knew so much about these areas. We are so sorry. General Yi Long, I really admire you. It turns out that you made both the blueprint and the star. You are my idol, General Yi Long. I am so sorry for what we said just now. We were a little rude. At this point, all these researchers had a positive attitude. After all, this was not an outsider. It was someone they had dreamed of seeing day and night, someone who could build a sixth-generation aircraft model. Afterwards, these researchers enthusiastically took Yi Xian and his family on a tour, and introduced some of the things they had developed later from time to time. Although they encountered some problems in these places, with Yi Xian's guidance, they quickly got a perfect solution and solved many of the researchers' troubles. The old professors standing by were particularly fond of the little ones and kept giving them a lot of interesting things. In an instant, the treatment Yi Xian and others received here was completely different from before, and they became absolute VIP guests. Yi Xian was not stingy at all. As long as these researchers had questions, no matter what type of questions they were, Yi Xian would be the first to give his advice and help, allowing them to gain a lot. Finally, it was getting late, and with everyone reluctantly seeing them off, Yi Xian and his companions quickly got in the car and drove towards the villa. After returning home, Long Fei saw Yi Xian coming back. After exchanging a few words of greeting, she remembered another thing and said to Yi Xian, "Master, let's go to Wui Mountain tomorrow." "Where are you going and what are you doing?" Yi Xian asked curiously and made himself a pot of tea. "Hey, master, don't say you don't know. The new tea leaves of Dahong Pao are about to come down. I talked to the people there and they agreed that we could go pick them." Yi Xian smiled when he heard that, gave Long Fei a thumbs up and praised him. "Only you have the ability to manage all these relationships? Master, isn't your identity here? And there are also spirit-clearing potions and other things." Long Fei shook her head. This was not giving face to her, this was clearly giving face to Yi Xian. "Sister Long, what you are doing is called using a tiger's skin to make a big banner? Well, I think this is called the fox borrowing the tiger's might. This is a new idiom I learned." I know. Sister Long is using the emperor to control the princes." Upon hearing this, several little guys came over and spoke to Long Fei one by one. Forehead. Long Fei was silent for a moment, looking at the innocent looks of these little guys, and said with a wry smile, "You little guys, you're the only ones who know so much." Yi Xian, who was standing aside, also laughed at what he heard and said jokingly to Long Fei, "Long Fei, you don't know this. Children are the most innocent and can often see through the essence of things." "Master." Long Fei stamped her feet lightly and pouted her lips. "Master, it seems that you have really taught these junior sisters a lot of things." "Ah, this is not my fault. You should go ask their teacher." Yi Xian laughed and shook his head. This had nothing to do with him. "Okay, you guys play first, I'm going to cook." Yi Xian glanced at the time and it was almost time for dinner, so he asked Fei to play with the little ones first while he went to the kitchen to cook. In the evening, everyone gathered together. The meal was particularly lively with so many people sitting together to eat. Seeing so many people, the little guys were so excited that they couldn't even sit still while eating. They kept picking up food for Yi Xian, and were afraid that Longshi, Bai Ling, and the others would be too polite, so they soon filled their bowls. Longshi ate in silence, watching Yi Xian chatting and laughing with a few little girls. After these few days, he finally understood why Bai Ling said that Brother Yi was different. In the past, Longshi had hardly ever seen a smile on Yi Xian's face. But after having Wang Xinyao and a few little girls, Yi Xian was smiling almost every moment. This was not a deliberate smile, but a mental state radiating from the inside out. After dinner, everyone chatted for a while, and a few little girls went to feed the little black cat dried fish. The atmosphere in the villa was warm, and even Longshi, who always had a cold face, watched from the side, and the corners of his mouth curled up a little. The next day, after everyone had packed up, they headed towards Wui Mountain in a mighty manner. Wui Mountain can be regarded as one of the famous mountains in China, with green mountains and clear waters, clear wind and bright moon. It is like a paradise on earth. Since ancient times, Wui Mountain, as a gathering place of Chinese culture and history, is not only famous for its beautiful scenery, but also for its long history that is fascinating. When everyone arrived at the foot of the mountain, they could smell the unique natural fragrance of grass and trees with every breath, which was completely different from the feeling brought by the emissions in the city. At the foot of the mountain, rows of strange rocks are surrounded and grasses are growing lushly. At first glance, it is not just a single green, but also the wonders of nature. This time everyone came, and after getting off the bus in a lively manner, the bosses who were waiting at the foot of the mountain also hurried over to greet them warmly. Knowing that Yi Xian was coming, they had been waiting at the foot of the mountain since early morning. No one was slacking off at all. After all, it was none other than Yi Xian who was coming. If it were other dignitaries who came, perhaps they would not treat them so solemnly, but when it came to Yi Xian, they did not dare to be careless at all. General Yi Long, you are here. General Yi Long, welcome to our Zhangzhou. I hope you will forgive me for not welcoming you in person. If you need anything from us, please don't hesitate to ask. We will do our best to help you. These CEOs in suits and ties are all well-known figures in central China. But in front of Yi Xian, they no longer had any arrogance at all. Chapter 201 Tea Picking. They all knew that compared with Yi Xian, what did their identities count for? Well, let's go up the mountain. Yi Xian smiled and nodded. Everyone did not waste any more time. After exchanging a few words, they walked towards the tea trees on the mountain. Today, Wui Mountain has been highly developed, so it is not difficult for people to go up the mountain and it is quite easy. In addition, after taking the Qingling potion, everyone's physical functions have been greatly improved, so climbing a mountain is nothing. Bai Ling and Long Shi did not follow them up, but stayed at the foot of the mountain to be responsible for guarding in case of emergency. The others were chatting and laughing as they climbed towards the Dahongpo tea trees. The journey was easy and before long, they saw a few particularly special tea trees among a field of tea. These were the famous Wui Mountain Dahongpo. When the bosses arrived here, they stopped. They knew that they were not qualified to go there. Yi Xian walked over with Wang Xinyao and a few little ones and saw the administrator who had been waiting for a long time at the entrance of the tea garden in front of them. Mr. Yi, you are here, please come in quickly. When the administrator saw Yi Xian coming, he immediately greeted him warmly and took everyone to the side of the several Dahongpo robes. Mr. Yi, there are some particularities in picking Dahongpao. You only need to observe the leaves of Dahongpao. As long as they are intact and have no water on the leaves, you can pick them. Of course, in order to ensure the taste, the tea leaves should not be too young or too old, just moderately mature. The other thing is to be careful not to pinch it with your fingernails, just bend your fingers and break them. The administrator first gave Yi Xian and others several exquisite small bamboo baskets, and then carefully explained the precautions for picking. Okay, it turns out that professional things should be done by professionals. Yi Xian nodded, rolled up his sleeves, and smiled at Wang Xinyao and a few little girls beside him. Well, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, Dad. Several little guys were eager to try it out. They were very new to picking tea leaves, and they immediately got busy following the method taught by the administrator. If other people saw this scene, I don't know what they would think, but it would definitely be unacceptable. Dahongpo from Wui Mountain is a famous tea in China. In the past, it was even called the Imperial Tribute Tea. It is a first-class tea variety. The tea trees that everyone is picking are the mother trees of Wui Mountain Dahongpo, and they are truly top-grade tea. Generally, after the tea leaves mature, they are picked by special people every year. It is impossible for outsiders to pick them themselves, let alone get close to these mother trees. However, who would have thought that such a tea tree would allow a few little guys to pick its tea? The administrator on the side did not say anything, but respectfully helped Yi Xian and a few little ones to pick the tea, giving some reminders from time to time to ensure that the tea picked was in the best condition. After picking for a while, Yi Xian saw that he had picked almost everything, so he said to the little guys, "Girls, we have almost finished picking the tea leaves. We can go back now." As he spoke, Yi Xian looked at the sky again and continued. "Besides, it's going to rain soon. We'd better go back quickly." A few little guys wanted to play here for a while. When they heard Yi Xian say this, they also looked up at the sky. It was noon and the sun was bright and sunny. How could it rain? Dad, you are lying. The sun is so bright now, how could it rain? That's right. Let's play for a while longer, okay, Dad? Dad, the sky is clear now, it won't rain at all. However, none of the children believed it. They all wanted to play here for a while longer and stuck out their tongues at Yi Xian. Alright then, you guys continue playing here, I'll take your mom over there to take shelter from the rain. Aha! These little girls. Yi Xian smiled helplessly, but he couldn't do anything about the little guys, so he pointed to the other side. It's right over there. When it starts raining, come quickly. The little ones looked in the direction of Yi Xian's finger, which didn't seem too far away, and then nodded obediently. Okay, Dad, we'll play for a while and then we'll come find you. Yeah. So good. Yi Xian nodded, then pulled Wang Xinyao to the other side, where there was a small pavilion, which was just suitable for sheltering from the rain. Several little girls continued to look for tea leaves that could be picked with the administrator. They were all very excited and interested in this. The administrator knew that these were Yi Xian's daughters and did not dare to neglect them. What's more, these little girls were polite, cute, and well-behaved, and very likable. Honey, is it really going to rain soon? Over at the pavilion, Wang Xinyao looked at the sky above her head. It was cloudless and the sun was shining brightly. It didn't look like it was going to rain at all. Yes, that's right, you will know it later. Yi Xian looked at the sky and nodded slightly. Sure enough, not long after, black clouds that came from nowhere quickly covered the sky. When the little guys saw the sky like this, they ran towards Yi Xian and Wang Xinyao with the tea leaves they had just picked in their hands. However, their speed was still no match for the raindrops, and they were soon hit on the head by the bean-sized raindrops. The little girls held their heads, crouched, and hurried forward carefully. Although it was raining, they did not dare to go too fast for fear of slipping and falling to the ground. Feeling the raindrops getting heavier, the little ones pouted and regretted not listening to their father. Now they were going to be soaked like drowned rats. However, at this moment, a piece of clothing suddenly covered the heads of the three girls, blocking the dripping raindrops. The little guys looked up and saw that it was Yi Xian who came, and they all smiled foolishly. Hey, Dad, you're here. Yi Xian smiled and nodded, took off his coat and put it on them, then pointed to the pavilion in front and said, "Run over there. It's going to rain hard soon." As he spoke, Yi Xian picked up the other two little guys and rushed to the pavilion to take shelter from the rain in no time. Because Yi Xian was running very fast and the rain wasn't heavy, the little guys were only a little wet and it didn't have much impact. Well, Dad was right, wasn't he? Chapter 202 You Can't Pick It. Yi Xian put the little ones down, gently wiped the raindrops off their faces, took out the handkerchief he carried with him, and gently wiped the little ones. After all, he was afraid that they would catch a cold after getting wet. At this moment, the rain outside had changed from a drizzle to a downpour, like streams of water falling from the sky. Wow! Dad is so awesome! The children looked at the heavy rain outside and sighed. The sky was so clear just now, it changed so quickly. Dad is really amazing. I couldn't even see the dark clouds just now. Dad, how on earth did you do this? Yes, Dad, just teach us, we want to learn too. For a moment, the little ones admired Yi Xian even more and clamored to learn Yi Xian's method of identifying the weather. Okay, give Daddy a kiss and I'll teach you. Yi Xian smiled dotingly, squatted down and looked at the little guys and said, "Okay." The children were not shy at all. They kissed Yi Xian on the cheek affectionately, and then surrounded him, listening to him introduce some methods of identifying the weather. Although the rain came quickly, it also went away quickly. Not long after, Yi Xian and others saw the sky turn clear, and the rain was over. After the rain, the air in the mountains becomes clearer and is filled with the fragrance of earth, making people feel clear-headed and comfortable. This rain also dispelled the midday heat and made the temperature more pleasant. However, the road in the mountains became much more slippery, but with Yi Xian by their side, the little girls and Wang Xinyao were not afraid and walked down smoothly. Long Fei, Long Shi, Bai Ling, and many other bosses were waiting for Yi Xian and the others a little below. They were also caught in the rain and their hair was wet. Seeing that they were still waiting here even in the rain, Yi Xian took out some tea and handed it to these bosses. Come on, share these among yourselves. Thank you for coming here today. At this moment, a group of bosses were stunned. They all opened their mouths wide, looking flattered. They looked at Yi Xian in disbelief, and immediately expressed their gratitude. General Yi Long, you are so polite. We will respectfully obey your orders. Thank you, General Yi Long, for your generosity. We will all remember it in our hearts. If General Yi Long needs any help in the future, we will definitely be there for you. Alas, you are worthy of being General Yi Long. Such a person is really worthy of our learning. These bosses took the tea leaves carefully, and their hands were shaking. This is not just because of the value and rarity of this tea. This is the tea that Yi Xian gave them personally. It can be said to be a priceless treasure and its value cannot be measured at all. It's okay, you're welcome. Yi Xian smiled, then walked up to Long Fei and the others and gave them a lot of tea. Thank you, master. Long Fei took the tea leaves, smiled playfully at Yi Xian, and immediately put them into her own bag without any hesitation. At this time, the administrator just now also came down and walked respectfully in front of Yi Xian. Mr. Yi, are you leaving now? Yi Xian nodded and looked at the wet area around him. Well, it rained today and the mountains are slippery, so I'll take the girls back first. The administrator nodded heavily, and then personally saw Yi Xian off. "Mr. Yi, I'll take you there." Soon, a group of bosses and administrators came to see Yi Xian and others off all the way. This scene was also seen by many people here, and they started talking about it. "Who is this person? This is too big a scene. I don't know, maybe he's from someone's family. Hey! Isn't this the administrator? He actually escorted me down the mountain in person." Just as Yi Xian and others were walking downstairs, 3 or 4 people came up from below. The leader among them was a young man who looked very imposing and had a cold look in his eyes. Even when he came here, he was still wearing an expensive suit and dressed himself very decently. The watch and diamond ring on his wrist also revealed his status. "Master Ji, it just rained here, you have to be careful." "Ah, don't worry, I can still walk steadily." The young man laughed loudly, walked forward heroically, and spoke to the people around him. "Ladies and gentlemen, Mount Wui has always been a treasure among the famous mountains and rivers. After the rain, it is like a beautiful jade revealing water droplets, giving people a special sense of beauty." When the others heard this, they all smiled and gave Ji Xiao a thumbs up. Yes, everyone says that Master Ji is a cultured person, he is different. "Master Ji is so poetic, why don't you recite a poem for us?" "I just happened to come to Wui, isn't this scene just perfect?" Listening to the jokes of several people, the young man shook his head and said with a wry smile, "Okay, stop shivering at me. I'm not a wandering poet. I'm just an ordinary person." A few of them walked forward leisurely while chatting and laughing, and soon they saw several figures in front of them. The first thing the young man saw was Longsher standing beside him. In an instant, his eyes narrowed slightly, and a hint of sinisterness flashed in his eyes. But this emotion was fleeting, and then it returned to calm, like a pool of stagnant water in an ancient well. After the administrator sent Yi Xian and others away, he was about to leave. Several wealthy businessmen from other places who were not far away followed the administrator and walked towards the tea garden above. They came here specifically to see these mother de hongpo trees. They had just seen Yi Xian and others picking tea leaves. While they were puzzled, they also looked enviously and followed the administrator all the way up. Although the administrator did not look back, he could already feel someone following him. After arriving at the entrance of the tea garden, he stopped. "Everyone, you followed me all the way here, is there anything you want to ask?" Then, the administrator turned around slightly and asked the wealthy businessmen from other places with an expressionless face. "Hello, we are from out of town. We have long admired the Wui Mountain de hongpo tea, so we want to come here to pick some. How much does it cost to go there and pick it?" Upon hearing that they were there to pick tea leaves from the mother tree, the administrator frowned and righteously rejected their request. "I'm sorry, if you came here for this mother tree, I'm afraid you will go back disappointed. We can't let outsiders pick the fruits here. That's the rule. No matter how much money you pay." Chapter 203 smells so good. After hearing what the administrator said, the wealthy businessman in the lead was not convinced and raised his voice a little, and he was obviously a little angry. "What are you talking about? Why can that young man come up to pick the fruits? Why can't we? Are you, the administrator, corrupt and partial? If so, we will definitely report you." Seeing this, several other wealthy businessmen also came over. Their tone and attitude were not very good. After all, everyone saw Yi Xian and others picking the fruits just now. "Yes, we all saw it. Don't deny it. You have to give us an explanation. We must be given an explanation. Why can they do it but we can't? Are we no better than a young person? I don't care. We came all the way here. Just name a price. We have to go and pick the tea leaves." For a moment, this group of wealthy businessmen were unconvinced. Everyone wanted to go and pick tea leaves. Anyway, they could afford the money, and they didn't think that their status was lower than Yi Xian's. Faced with the unreasonable behavior of these wealthy businessmen, the administrator was not in a hurry and just smiled coldly. "Everyone, do you know the Qingling potion? Spirit purifying potion?" Hearing this, the wealthy businessmen were all stunned. What was this about the Qingling potion? They were here to pick tea leaves. Nonsense, who in China doesn't know about the Qingling potion? Did you just get connected to the internet here? Humph. Since you know about the spirit purifying potion, let me tell you why you can't go in and pick it. The administrator shouted loudly, and then spoke to the wealthy businessman in a loud voice. The person just now is the publisher of the Qingling potion. He published this Qingling potion and could obviously make a terrifying fortune, even rich enough to rival a country, but he didn't take a penny. I believe you all took it, right? In addition, he is also a senior member of the military and a core figure of the Yanhuang military. His achievements will last for thousands of years and he is a figure worthy of being recorded in history. The administrator took a deep breath here, but still did not stop and continued. Also, do you know who those CEOs accompanying him are? They are all top officials and dignitaries in Zhengzhou. Others are not qualified to accompany him, so who are you? Don't say that he just came here to pick some tea leaves. Even if he cut down these mother trees and used them as firewood, few people in China would dare to say anything. What are you guys arguing about? At this, all these wealthy businessmen were dumbfounded, their pupils trembled, and their hearts were filled with turmoil. No one dared to speak anymore. Indeed, as the administrator said, compared with others, they are nothing, and yet they are still making a scene here shamelessly. The administrator had said this, and the few people felt embarrassed to stay any longer. After hesitating for a while, they left in shame. At the same time, Yi Xian also brought everyone back home, preparing to fry and process the tea leaves they had picked. As for the other CEOs, after seeing Yi Xian off to the car, they dispersed, but they all held the tea leaves Yi Xian gave them in their hands with the same preciousness. After returning home, Yi Xian took the tea leaves to the kitchen. After heating the iron pan, he poured the tea leaves into the pan and started stir-frying it quickly. This is worthy of being the king of teas. Yi Xian had just started to stir-fry it when a rich aroma spread out. Even the little guys in the living room and Wang Xinyao came in. Wow! Dad is so awesome! The little ones watched Yi Xian stir-frying the tea leaves skillfully and quickly. The whole process was smooth as flowing water without any pause, and not a single tea leaf fell into the iron pan. Looking at this frying technique that was like a work of art, not to mention having seen the little one before, even Wang Xinyao opened her mouth wide and was completely stunned. Is there anything else that Yi Xian can't do? Even if he's a super dad, he can't be omnipotent. At this moment, Yi Xian was busy frying tea leaves, while Wang Xinyao was watching with a few little ones. After stir-frying quickly for a few minutes, Yi Xian lifted the iron pan, poured the tea leaves into the bamboo basket prepared on the side, and gently rubbed them with his hands. This step is to squeeze out the moisture in the tea leaves and also remove some impurities. Then, Yi Xian poured the tea leaves into the iron pot again, but this time the fire was much smaller, but the stir-frying speed remained the same. Now is the crucial step. We need to rely on low heat and even stir-frying to completely dry out the moisture in the tea leaves. As time passed, the aroma of tea in the air became stronger and stronger. Several little guys gathered around Yi Xian, clamoring to drink tea. It smells so good. Can we drink it, Dad? Dad, I want to drink it so much, it smells so good. We all want to drink, Dad, when will it be ready? Looking at the pouting lips of the little guys, Yi Xian smiled and shook his head. No, at least not today. And we don't have any professional tea sets at home, so let's wait until tomorrow. Dad will take you to find a more professional tea garden tomorrow. All right. After hearing Yi Xian's explanation, the little guys nodded obediently, even though they didn't know what kind of professional tea sets were missing. At night, all the children lay on the sofa and watched TV lazily. After climbing the mountain for a whole day, I was fine at the beginning, but now my back and waist aches and I feel weak all over. I'm so tired. My calves hurt so much. Yeah, Xiaoxi is the same, my calves are sore and I feel like I have no strength left. Ah! My whole body is so sore. I've climbed too much today, I can't take it anymore. The little ones were so tired that they couldn't move, and the little black cat was lying beside them and dozing off. The scene looked very loving. On the other hand, Wang Xinyao was the same, lying on the sofa tiredly, rubbing her calves gently. When we were climbing the mountain, everyone felt it was very easy, but now it is no longer the case. What's wrong with you guys? Yi Xian had just taken a shower and was about to tell the little ones to take a bath and go to bed, but he suddenly saw this scene, walked over and asked with a smile. Dad, we are so tired and feel sore all over. Yeah, I was so tired from climbing up today, and now I'm in so much pain that I don't even want to sleep. Hey, Dad. How come you're okay? Yi Xian shook his head helplessly, but seeing the little guys and Wang Xinyao in pain, he felt distressed and hurried over. Dad is used to it. You should also exercise more in the future. Chapter 204 Go to sleep. How about this, Daddy will give you a massage so you won't feel tired, okay? When the little guys heard what Yixian said, they immediately became energetic, climbed up, stared at Yixian with wide eyes, and said in disbelief, "Dad, you can give massages, right?" Wang Xinyo was also a little surprised and asked Yixian, "Hubby, you are so omnipotent." Looking at everyone's surprised expressions, Yixian just smiled slightly, then walked up and started massaging the little ones one by one. "Okay, Daddy has only learned this occasionally, so just lie down and Daddy will give you a good rub." "Hey, we love you, Dad." The little ones felt Yixian's warm hands gently massaging their sore calves, and they felt a warm feeling in their hearts, and the original soreness instantly improved a lot. "Dad, I admire you so much, this massage is so effective. I feel much better now, thanks Dad." Dad's skills are good enough to open a massage parlor. After Yixian massaged the little guys one by one for a while, the little guys felt relaxed and the soreness just now disappeared. "Okay, stop talking nonsense and go take a shower. After Daddy finishes massaging Mommy, we'll go to bed." The children nodded, and then skipped off to take a bath together. Yixian sat next to Wang Xinyo and gently massaged her. "It must be tiring to take care of these little girls?" Yixian asked with concern while gently rubbing Wang Xinyo's legs. "Well, it's okay, but aren't we still enjoying it?" Yixian smiled and nodded. After rubbing his fingers to warm them up, he continued to rub Wang Xinyo's calves. "How's it going, Xinyo? Are you feeling better?" "It's okay. You're tired too. Let's take the girls to bed." Wang Xinyo felt distressed seeing that Yixian had been massaging for such a long time. His body was indeed almost healed now. "Well, that's good." At this moment, Wang Xinyo and the little ones had completely relieved their fatigue, and the aches and pains in their bodies turned into relief. Back in the room, the little ones had finished their baths and huddled beside Yixian with a smile as usual. After a fairy tale, they quickly fell asleep due to the combined effects of massage and hot bath. After getting up the next morning, Wang Xinyo and the little ones felt refreshed. The fatigue from yesterday's climbing was swept away, and replaced by abundant energy and a good mental state. I slept so comfortably." After the little guys finished washing up, they stretched and walked out of the living room. Seeing that Yixian had already prepared breakfast, they immediately felt hungry. "Wake up!" Just at this moment, Yixian came out with the freshly cooked century egg and lean meat porridge and placed it on the table. "It smells so good, Dad. I love the century egg and lean meat porridge you cook the most." Yi Jing was so greedy that his mouth was watering. The other little guys also felt their stomachs were empty. Now seeing this table full of sumptuous breakfast, how could they resist? "Okay, once your mom finishes washing up, we'll have dinner." Yixian picked up the bowl with a smile, and first served a bowl of porridge to each of the children, and placed it on the table to cool for a while. Soon, Wang Xinyo came out after washing up, and the family sat at the table to enjoy breakfast. "Master, the porridge you cook is so delicious." Long Fei drank the porridge in big gulps, completely losing his image. He was completely conquered by the century egg and lean meat porridge. "Master, have you ever considered opening a shop? Such a good skill cannot be wasted." Bai Ling also smacked her lips and suggested with a smile that Yixian could open a breakfast shop. "Sister Bai Ling, let's not do this." But before Yixian could speak, Yishi on the side pouted her lips and spoke weakly to Bai Ling. "Yeah, but why?" Bai Ling chuckled and looked at the little guy curiously. "Dad's cooking is so delicious. If everyone buys it all, we won't have anything to eat." Yishi answered timidly with an aggrieved expression, thinking that Yixian was really going to open a breakfast shop. "Okay, you little greedy cat, I was just kidding. How could I let your dad open a store?" Yixian was also amused. These little girls were really greedy, one more than the other. But they were so cute. "Hubby, you've spoiled these little ones. Now they're picky eaters." Wang Xinyo also covered her mouth and smiled. Ever since Yixian started cooking every day, the little girls even disliked the food he made. "Master's wife, what you said is wrong. What do you call master? A good cook at home. Where can we find such a great chef?" Long Fei chuckled and blinked at Yixian. "Okay, stop talking nonsense and eat quickly. After you finish eating, take a rest. We'll find a place to have tea." When they heard that they were going to have tea, the little guys started to get excited and ate much faster. After the crowd went out in a mighty procession, they strolled on the street for a while and indeed saw a tea garden. The name of the tea garden is Jingxiu Pavilion, which is a fresh and elegant name that is refreshing. Dad, there is a tea garden here. The little guy saw the tea garden at a glance and hurriedly pointed at Yi Xian and said, "Okay, let's go take a look." Yi Xian smiled, led the little ones to the entrance of the tea garden, and looked inside. The decoration of the tea garden is very special. Different from the general European mixed style, the lighting and building materials tend to be modern. This tea garden is as charming as its name. The white walls are smooth and elegant, and combined with the sandalwood tables and chairs inside, it does not appear monotonous at all. Instead, it gives people a sense of tranquility and elegance. The surrounding walls are also hung with various kinds of calligraphy and paintings. Although most of them are not works of famous artists, they create an ancient atmosphere. After walking into the tea garden, what you see is not a counter, but an elaborately carved rockery and waterscape, with the sound of gurgling water and floating water plants, and a group of colorful koi swimming slowly inside. The decoration of such a tea garden alone is attractive enough, and the scale of the tea garden is also not small. When people look up, they can see that it actually has 3 floors, and a wide balcony is specially reserved on the second floor, which is filled with various flowers and plants. Just by standing at the door, everyone could smell the faint scent of tea lingering from inside, mixed with burning sandalwood branches. Chapter 205, Mastery. Wow! It smells so good. When the children smelled the scent, they couldn't help but close their eyes and savor it carefully. Dad, let's go to this one. The little guys were very satisfied with the tea garden in front of them. They were drooling over the tea picked yesterday and couldn't wait to get in. Okay, let's go. Yi Xian looked around and nodded slightly. He thought that given the size of this tea garden, there should be no shortage of what he needed. Welcome, sir, welcome to our Qingxiu Pavilion Tea House. Would you like a private room or the hall? As soon as everyone walked in, the waiter inside greeted them warmly and politely. Let's go to the lobby. The environment here is pretty good. Yi Xian glanced at the hall, which was also filled with green plants, and had exquisite tables and chairs with all the necessary tea sets on them. There were also sandalwood branches burning nearby. Okay, everyone please follow me. The waiter nodded politely and led everyone to a seat in the hall. Sir, what kind of tea do you need? We have a lot of good tea here. Here is the menu, please take a look. After everyone was seated, the waiter handed over an exquisite menu. Sir, it is said that water is the mother of tea, and utensils are the father of tea. The water source for brewing tea that we provide to you at Qingxiu Pavilion is pure mountain spring water, and all the tea utensils are also exquisite. If you still need a professional tea maker, we can also provide that service. We can also guarantee the tea bottles for you. They are definitely the best tea. Thank you, sister, but we brought our own tea. Without waiting for Yi Xian to say anything, the little guy spoke seriously to the waiter. Okay, I won't bother you guys anymore. If the tea sets here need to be replaced, you can call us anytime. After a respectful bow, the waiter left gracefully, also with a polite smile on his face. Honey, the waiters here are really polite and enthusiastic. Wang Xinyo observed the waiter's meticulous service and couldn't help but admire it. Haha, I think it probably has something to do with these little guys. Yi Xian curled his chin when he heard that. Wang Xinyo also saw that the idle waiters around were all looking at the little guys with a smile. There is no way, cute girls are the most attractive to these waiters, no matter where they are. Yi Xian took out the tea leaves and started fiddling with the tea set on the table. The tea sets in the tea garden are also top-notch, using the finest purple clay teapots and white porcelain teacups, as well as teaspoons made of bamboo and wood. When it comes to brewing dahongpo, we prefer the first-grade dahongpo picked from Wui Mountain, and the brewing techniques and methods are more sophisticated. As the best grade of tea, its brewing method is very particular. The wrong brewing method often fails to allow the tea to penetrate its true aroma and flavor, and will make the tea bitter and tasteless. Yi Xian first boiled the spring water nearby. Instead of making tea, he skillfully rinsed the purple clay teapot, white porcelain teacup, etc. on the table with the boiled spring water. The purpose of this step is to rinse off the dust and impurities on the tea set again, and it also serves to warm the cup. Several little ones couldn't wait any longer and were staring at Yi Xian's movements, looking forward to enjoying the wonderful dahongpo from the Wui Mountain mother tree. After completing the rinsing step, Yi Xian added some tea leaves into the purple clay teapot, and then brewed it using the hanging pot high pouring technique. The whole process was smooth and natural, without a trace of delay. After the hot water slightly rose above the surface of the pot, Yi Xian quickly used a tea scraper to skim off the foam on top, then covered the teapot and, after soaking it for about 15 seconds, he poured it into a warmed white porcelain teacup. Okay. You can drink now. Yi Xian smiled dotingly at the little guys. Before they could react, the Dahongpo tea was already brewed. They all looked at Yi Xian in surprise. Dad, this is too fast. Is it really ready now? Yeah, Dad, isn't this a bit too fast? Do you want to soak for a while longer? Ah. Can I drink it now? Looking at the surprised looks of the little guys, Yi Xian smiled and then explained. Well, it's like this. The first brewing time of Wui Dahongpo should not be too long, otherwise it will affect the taste of the tea, the concentration and aroma of the tea soup, and even the taste of the subsequent brewing. Oh, that's how it is. The children nodded, not quite understanding how so many mysteries could be contained in this small tea leaf. They admired Yi Xian even more in their hearts. Dad is so professional, so amazing. The little ones giggled, then carefully picked up the teacups and savored the tea carefully. This is the finest Dahongpo tea grown from the mother tree in Wui Mountain. It has just been brewed slightly, and the fragrance of the tea has already spread throughout the entire hall. Although the aroma is strong, it will not make people feel sick. It smells so good. Wang Xinya was amazed when she smelled the fragrance of the tea. This was indeed the top-quality imperial tribute Dahongpo that many people coveted. The aroma alone was enough to make people salivate. The little ones drank it in small sips, and felt the lingering flavor, as if a clear and refreshing air filled their lungs, and they felt as if they were surrounded by a sea of tea, their body and mind returning to nature. It's so delicious. Not to mention those who love tea like a treasure, even those who like to drink tea on a daily basis can't control their love for tea. After taking a few sips, the little ones' eyes lit up and they all expressed their admiration for the tea. At this moment, in the lobby, countless people were attracted by the fragrance of tea and paid attention to Yi Xian and others. Wow, what kind of tea is this? It smells so good, doesn't it? Yeah, compared to this, I feel like the tea I'm drinking has no taste. It's not simple. I know it as soon as I smell the fragrance. This must be the tea that I can't afford to drink. Indeed, the smell alone makes me anxious. I wonder what kind of wonderful taste it will have when I drink it. The people drinking tea in the lobby closed their eyes, greedily sniffing the soul-stirring tea fragrance. It was really too intoxicating. However, there is more than that. Many people also saw Yi Xian's tea-making technique just now. In the eyes of those who often drink tea and enjoy the tea ceremony, his level of proficiency is no less than those of the masters. Some sharp-eyed people have already noticed that Yi Xian's understanding of tea has reached a level of perfection. Chapter 206. You can say it straight. Hey! Did you notice that this guy is really good at making tea? A middle-aged man at another table noticed the scene. He was not only obsessed with the aroma of the tea, but as he was well versed in the tea ceremony, he was even more amazed at Yi Xian's skill in making tea. Old Su, this young man is not simple. Just from his technique, he has surpassed countless masters. His operation is simply a perfect match between man and nature. There is nothing wrong with it. Not only that, didn't you see it? The aura and posture when he was making tea gave me the same amazing feeling as if I had just seen Mount Lu. He is obviously a young man, but he gives people a sense of heaviness accumulated over countless years. He is a master. Indeed, such a person is hard to come by. Anyway, I have been in this circle for so long, but I have never seen one. In just a moment, everyone was shocked by Yi Xian's skills and was speechless. They just felt that there are always people better than people, and how come they have never seen such a master? It was at this time that the waiters also noticed this side. The first pot of tea had been finished and Yi Xian was brewing the second pot of tea. Tea like Dahongpo has its own uniqueness. Repeated brewing will not make the taste lighter, but will make it more mellow. The higher the quality of the Dahongpo, the more so. Later on, after multiple brewing, the tea leaves become sweet and clear, leaving a long aftertaste. This is especially true for the top-quality imperial tribute Dahongpo picked from the mother tree. Oh my god! Isn't this so fragrant? And the smell is absolutely amazing. All the waiters were stunned at this time. Many people who came to their tea garden brought their own tea. Although there were some good teas among them, it was the first time they saw tea like Yi Xian. Moreover, Yi Xian's tea-making skills are even more pleasing to the eye than those of their chief tea artist. And this looks like just a young man, but their chief tea artist is a well-known master who is over 50 years old. Master Shangyu. Would you like to come and take a look? There is a young man in the lobby. His tea-making skills are amazing. At this time, Zhang Yu, the chief tea artist of Qingxiu Pavilion, was resting in a small hall nearby. Several waiters hurried in and told him about Yi Xian in the lobby. Ha ha ha, he's just a young man who knows the tea ceremony. It's nothing. There are young people who like the tea ceremony, but nowadays, there are fewer and fewer of them. But Zhang Yu smiled kindly and seemed very happy. He rarely saw young people who were so devoted to the art of tea. However, seeing these waiters being so surprised, Zhang Yu was a little surprised. After all, the waiters here were considered to have seen the world, and even if they saw him making tea himself, their reaction would not be so big. Could it be that this young man's skills are better than mine? At this moment, a horrifying thought suddenly emerged in Zhang Yu's mind, and even he was scared. How could this be possible? The more he thought about it, the more curious Zhang Yu became. Looking at the shocked expressions on the waiters' faces, this didn't seem fake. Is what you said true? Thinking of this, Zhang Yu took a deep breath, and became a little restless, so he asked the waiter who was still talking in front of him. Master Zhang Yu, we all saw it with our own eyes. There are still many guests watching this young man. Well, I'll go see how powerful he is. Zhang Yu nodded, stood up, waved his sleeves, and walked towards the lobby outside. However, as soon as he walked out of the small hall, Zhang Yu smelled a strong fragrance. He was stunned at once. He savored the fragrance carefully, and suddenly his pupils contracted. Isn't this the imperial tribute red robe? Zhang Yu murmured, no longer as calm as before, and couldn't help feeling a little surprised. Wait. This is impossible. How could it be Yugong? But soon, Zhang Yu denied his idea. This kind of tea is so rare and no one knows it better than him. At this age, he had only had the honor of drinking it once, and that was at a tea party. A mysterious old man came and brought some imperial tribute to Hongpo. Each person only had one cup. However, even now, that cup of Dahongpo still haunts him. He just can't believe that someone actually brought this imperial tribute to Hongpo into this tea house, and it was a young man. Master Zhang Yu. You are here. It's you, Teacher Zhang. Come and sit down. Oh, isn't this Master Zhang Yu? This is really a disgrace to you. When they arrived at the lobby entrance, many guests recognized Zhang Yu and greeted him enthusiastically. But Zhang Yu waved his hand, signaling everyone to be quiet, and stared at Yi Xian's table. At this time, Yi Xian was still skillfully brewing tea, warming the cup, washing the tea, brewing, and pouring. The operation was just like the work of a master. Every detail was so exquisite that Zhang Yu was completely stunned. Seeing that this scene was actually done by a young man, he was completely confused. For some reason, he already felt a little ashamed in his heart. He had to admit defeat with such an attitude and technique. But he has been studying tea art for decades, and he is just a young man. How is this possible? With a thud, Zhang Yu seemed to lose all his strength and collapsed on a chair beside him. He continued to look at Yi Xian in disbelief and fell into a long silence. Soon, the commotion also attracted the boss. The boss came down from the upper box, following the smell, and he could tell at a glance that Yi Xian was extraordinary. His tea-making skills are no worse than those of the chief master Zhang Yu here. The boss was extremely excited at this moment. It was a rare opportunity to meet such a master. Immediately, the boss straightened his clothes, walked forward with a smile and excitement, and first bowed politely to Yi Xian. Hello, sir. I'm sorry to disturb you. Let me introduce myself. I'm the owner of this Qingxiu Pavilion. I was really shocked when I saw your tea-making skills just now. Your skills are really admirable. I have already remembered it after just one look. Seeing the boss coming over and hearing these words, Yi Xian kept smiling, probably knowing what the boss meant. Hello, boss. If you have anything to say, just tell me. Chapter 207, Picked by Yourself? Seeing that the other party had already said this, the boss no longer hesitated and sincerely invited Yi Xian. Sir, what I mean is that I want to invite you to come to my tea garden and be the chief tea artist of my tea garden. I hope to get your consent. As long as you are willing to come, as the boss here, I will not only give you an ideal salary, but I will also give you 30% of the monthly income as a bonus. In an instant, the boss offered a high and attractive condition. Such a condition was not small at all. It seemed that he had spent a lot of money to recruit Yi Xian. The Qingxiu Tea House can be regarded as one of the best places in the whole Zhengzhou. Not only young masters and young ladies come here, but also many dignitaries. So the turnover here is also a terrifying number. But as a businessman, the tea garden owner also knew that if he could really recruit Yi Xian, it would be 100 benefits with no harm. However, Yi Xian just smiled without saying anything. The boss was immediately happy, thinking that Yi Xian was considering it, and it seemed that there might be a chance. And just at this time, Yi Xian received a call from Sun Ji. "Master, where are you now?" "I'm at Qingxiu Pavilion. If you have nothing to do, come and sit down. I'll give you some good tea." "Okay. Master, I'll be right over." Sun Ji agreed immediately, and Yi Xian hung up the phone. At this time, the boss on the side was still recruiting, and the price was getting higher and higher. Zhang Yu, who was standing by, saw this and shook his head helplessly. But he didn't feel unwilling at all. After all, he was not as skilled as his opponent. As the saying goes, laymen watch the excitement while experts watch the doorway. As a master in the field of tea ceremony, he could see the gap between himself and Yi Xian with just one glance, which could not be made up by age and experience. "Sir, please think about it again. Our tea garden needs a master like you. As for the conditions, you can set whatever you want. As long as you are willing to come, I will try my best to agree to any request you make." After a while, Sun Ji brought a group of bosses to the tea garden. The boss was still smiling and patiently recruiting people, but when he saw Sun Ji and others coming, he was suddenly speechless. The other guests were also frightened when they saw the scene. The people in front of them were extraordinary. They were all top dignitaries in Zhengzhou, and each of them was extraordinary. Just by moving their feet, they would cause quite a stir in Zhengzhou. They are truly the top figures in Zhengzhou. Why are there so many big guys here? Oh my god, the chairman of Longha Enterprise and the general manager of Zhengzhou Industry. This is so weird. Why are they here together? Are they here for tea? How is that possible? Maybe he came here to discuss something. Such a scene is rare to see. The people in the lobby were immediately attracted by this scene, and their hearts trembled as they watched. They wondered what on earth was going on. "Mr. Yi, you are here? We are so sorry for not hosting you well. We didn't even know Mr. Yi was here. We are so sorry. Excuse me, Mr. Yi, we all want to come and see you too." In a flash, as soon as these bosses saw Yi Xian, they came over to greet him warmly. Their respectful look stunned the people around them, and their expressions changed in an instant when they looked at Yi Xian. "Master, we are here." Sun Ji also smiled slightly and walked towards Yi Xian. "Well, sit down." Yi Xian smiled and waved his hand. After asking everyone to sit down, he made tea for everyone. Seeing Yi Xian making tea himself, these bosses were flattered and hurriedly thanked him. "Mr. Yi, you are so polite. How can we afford it? Alas, we didn't even entertain Mr. Yi properly when he came, and we still asked you to make tea for us. This is really unreasonable." "Thank you, Mr. Yi. We will obey your orders." When the tea garden owner heard this, he was startled and took a few steps back in fear. Who are these people? They are some of the most important figures in Zhengzhou. Each one of them is powerful enough to shock a large group of people. However, it was these people who actually had such an attitude towards Yi Xian, which really shocked him. No matter how stupid or dumb he was at this moment, he knew that Yi Xian, whom he had just offered countless conditions to recruit, must have a terrifying identity. Realizing this, the boss's face suddenly changed and his hands and feet felt cold. Even these bosses have to be so polite to them, and I am actually trying to lick their faces to recruit them as my employees. This is really a lack of tact. This is really good tea. It smells so good, right? What kind of tea is this? Suddenly, as the fragrance seeped out of the teapot, everyone was shocked, especially those bosses who did not go to Wui Mountain yesterday. They were even more shocked. Some of the bosses here often come here to drink tea and are familiar with the boss. Seeing the boss standing there woodenly, they asked jokingly, "Boss, do you know what kind of tea this is?" Upon hearing this, the boss wiped his sweat and replied with a flattering smile. "Well, this should be De Hong Pao, and the quality is so good, I think it should be the best of the best." "Ha, you are worthy of being the boss, you really know your stuff, this is De Hong Pao." The boss laughed and continued. "To be honest, this is the De Hong Pao that Mr. Yi personally picked yesterday in Wui Mountain. It's from those mother trees." Boom! When these words were spoken, everyone was shocked, the corners of their mouths twitched suddenly, and they looked at Yi Xian blankly. What kind of identity is this? He can actually go to Wui Mountain to pick tea leaves in person, and it's not just ordinary Dahong Pao, but picked from the mother tree. They all know how precious the Dahong Pao from the mother tree in Wui Mountain is. It is a true imperial tribute. Even with their status, it is impossible for them to pick the Dahongpo themselves when they go to Wui Mountain. If they want to drink this Dahongpo, they have to participate in the auction. Even so, the chances of getting this tea are slim. After all, the annual output of the mother tree of Dahongpo is only a small amount. It is difficult for them to get it no matter how hard they try. Moreover, they have to compete with all the dignitaries from China. The possibility of getting it is really too small. However, even such a rare treasure was picked by Yi Xian himself. This shows that even the manager of the mother tree of Dahongpo and Wui Mountain has to give face to Yi Xian. The boss standing by was even more frightened at this moment. He had just guessed in his mind that this might be the imperial tribute, but seeing the large amount of tea leaves placed on the tea table by Yi Xian, he did not dare to think about it that way. Chapter 208 Who is this person? However, this is the real Dahongpo from the mother tree of Wui Mountain. How could he not be surprised? When he heard what the boss said, Yi Xian went to pick the fruits himself, his mind went blank. Looking at Yi Xian sitting on the chair with a calm face, his heart was suddenly filled with turmoil. Everyone was drinking tea and chatting, while Sun Ji looked at Yi Xian and talked about the purpose of his visit. Master, I have something to tell you. There is a Chinese medicine exchange meeting here. Are you interested in going to take a look? Exchange meeting, what to discuss? When Yi Xian heard this, he became interested and asked a question. That's right. This is mainly to exchange the potions we have now. After all, now that we have the Qingling potion, the tea leaves we have are not very useful anymore. So the purpose of this exchange meeting is to discuss how to deal with this batch of drugs now. Hearing this, Yi Xian nodded and thought to himself that this was the case. Well, let's go and take a look. Okay, master, let's go now without further delay. Good. Yi Xian agreed, then looked gently at the little ones and Wang Xinyao beside him. Xinyao, I still have some things to do here. You should take the kids back first. I'll be back later. Wang Xinyao heard this and nodded with a smile. Okay, husband, go ahead. I'll take the girls back later. Ah. Dad is going out? Dad, aren't you going to take us? So when will Dad come back? Don't let him stay away like last time. But this time, the little guys were unhappy and seemed to want to follow Yi Xian. Be good, Daddy will be back soon. Just listen to Mommy, okay? Okay. Then Dad, you must come back soon. After Yi Xian's comfort, the little ones reluctantly agreed and kept reminding Yi Xian to come back early. Okay, Dad promises you. Afterwards, Yi Xian and Sun Ji did not delay any longer and rushed to the Chinese medicine exchange meeting. At the same time, many veteran Chinese medicine practitioners have gathered at this Chinese medicine exchange meeting. Some of these old Chinese doctors were holding a lot of medicinal materials and looking around blindly, some were sitting aside sighing, and some were gathered together, discussing the next path fiercely, but their eyes were blank. After all, since the Qingling potion came out of nowhere, they have had no problems. Since the Chinese people have taken this potion, their physical condition has greatly improved and their health has reached an unprecedented level. Some are happy and some are sad. Although they are also very happy, as old Chinese medicine practitioners, they all hope that there will be no disease and no disaster in the world. However, how to deal with the medicinal materials in their hands has become a little troublesome. Ah, this Qingling potion is really magical. It can even cure cancer and tumors. It is simply a miracle drug. Indeed, we are living in a peaceful and prosperous age now. Since people started taking this Qingling medicine, there are almost no minor colds or flus. Even serious illnesses have been greatly reduced. Even if you do get sick, it is easy to treat. So this Qingling potion is really great. Not only is it a remedy for the dead, but it also doesn't cost a penny. It's really admirable. At this time, people were discussing the magic of the Qingling potion and expressing their admiration, but when they saw that there were so many herbs left, they all smiled bitterly. Alas, this Qingling potion is good, but now all the Chinese medicine we have stored for half a lifetime will be useless. I don't know what to do, but these are all rare medicinal herbs. Should I keep them or throw them away? There's nothing we can do. Let's wait and see what everyone says when they get together. These are all treasures. How can we throw them away? At this point, everyone fell silent, not knowing how to best handle this situation, and immediately everyone sighed. Dr. Sun Jisuan is here. However, at this moment, several people outside came in excitedly, shouting constantly, excitedly announcing the news that Sun Ji was coming. Ah! Dr. Sun is here. Let's go over there quickly. Quick! Let's go and welcome Dr. Sun. In an instant, these veteran Chinese medicine practitioners were all excited, and their admiration for Sun Ji was extraordinary. They all went out to greet him excitedly. Dr. Sun, you are finally here. Please come in, Dr. Sunday. We are all waiting for you. Oh, it's true that seeing is believing. Dr. Sun is such a handsome man. Outside the door, after Sun Ji got out of the car, everyone came up to greet him enthusiastically. However, what puzzled everyone was that after Yi Xian got off the car, Sun Ji consciously walked behind Yi Xian, which puzzled everyone for a while. Who is Dr. Sun? He is the one who developed the Qingling medicine. How could this young man dare to walk ahead of Dr. Sun? Looking at everyone's puzzled expressions, Sun Ji smiled slightly and began to introduce himself to everyone. Everyone, I forgot to introduce you, this is my master Yi Xian. Sun Ji's introduction was so shocking that everyone around him was instantly stunned. If they hadn't heard it with their own ears, who could believe that the young man in front of them was actually the master of the great Dr. Sun Jisuan? Dr. Sun is already middle-aged, but no matter how you look at it, he is just a young man. Is it possible for him to regain his youth? These old Chinese doctors simply couldn't accept it. It was really surprising and didn't make sense no matter how you thought about it. Moreover, no one in the field of traditional Chinese medicine has ever heard of such a number one figure. Don't be surprised, this is indeed my master, and he is also the developer of the Qingling potion. This. While everyone was still in doubt, Sun Ji's next words made everyone gasp. Alas, you can't judge a person by his appearance. We are so superficial. Yeah, I didn't expect there is such a talented person like Dr. Yi. Doesn't that mean that Divine Dr. Yi's attainments are even higher than Divine Dr. Sun's? At this moment, everyone was completely stunned, looking at each other with an incredible expression. At such a young age, he actually taught a talented disciple like Sun Ji, and personally participated in the research and development of this Qingling medicine. Afterwards, he did not take a penny and benefited the people. Chapter 209, Top Medicinal Materials. Thinking of this, everyone felt ashamed. They were all experienced Chinese medicine practitioners with decades of experience, but compared to Yi Xian, they were still far behind. Amidst a shock, everyone walked into the venue. As soon as Yi Xian entered, he saw medicinal herbs all over the ground. Walking forward, Yi Xian took a look around. There were many good medicinal herbs there, and even many centuries-old medicinal herbs, which were rare and hard to come by. Looking at these medicinal herbs, Yi Xian glanced at the confused expressions of the crowd. Of course, he also knew that after the Qingling potion came out, it would be a big blow to the original Chinese medicine industry, not to mention these old Chinese medicine practitioners. What a good thing! Suddenly, Yi Xian saw several century-old medicinal herbs placed on the ground, among which a century-old ginseng was particularly dazzling. Dr. Yi, are you interested in this medicinal material? At this time, an old Chinese doctor with gray hair came up from behind. Seeing that Yi Xian had been looking at his medicinal materials, he immediately walked up. Well, this ginseng and several other old medicinal herbs are all good things. Are you willing to sell them? I will buy them at a high price. The old Chinese doctor smiled when he heard this, and admired Yi Xian even more. He gave him a thumbs up and said, Divine Dr. Yi really has a keen eye. This 100-year-old ginseng is not that easy to identify, but you spotted it at a glance. However, as he spoke, the old Chinese doctor also smiled bitterly and sighed slightly. Alas, even if this is a good medicine, it is useless now. If Dr. Yi wants it, just take it. Don't worry about the money. No, we each have our own opinion. How much should the medicinal materials cost? However, Yi Xian shook his head. He couldn't take the medicine for free. He felt a little guilty in his heart. Then he looked at everyone and said, I'm sorry, this is really hard for you all, these are all top-quality medicinal herbs. Everyone looked at Yi Xian at this time, and seeing Yi Xian's appearance, they hurriedly shook their heads. Dr. Yi, you don't have to say that. You are a role model that all of us Chinese medicine practitioners should learn from. You and Dr. Sun developed this Qingling medicine, which has greatly improved the physical fitness of the people. How wonderful it is! It has saved so many people from illness. This is what we all want. And you didn't charge a penny for this refreshing potion. What a broad mind you have. The veteran Chinese doctors were all a little excited at this time, and some even had tears in their eyes. Ever since ancient doctors wrote medical books and created medicine prescriptions, they have hoped that people could stay away from diseases. This is the goal that countless Chinese medicine practitioners strive for. Now, thanks to Yi Xian and Sun Ji's Qingling potion, all this has been achieved in great strides. How can it not be said to be great? This is a milestone in history. It is also a monument that makes China stand tall among the nations of the world. Well, let's do this. I'll take all the herbs, and please don't be stingy with the medical books you have. Take them out. I plan to compile a medical book and give it to Sun Ji. Then we will set up a Chinese medical association. You are all members of the medical association. I will provide you with the best possible benefits. As for these Chinese medicines, even if they are of no great use right now, they all have their own value. I will buy them back at the price and will never let you down. After hearing Yi Xian's words, everyone was even more excited and grateful to Yi Xian. Dr. Yi, we don't know how to thank you. A doctor's heart is full of compassion. Dr. Yi, you are worthy of the title and are our role model. Thanks to Dr. Yi, thank you so much. In response to everyone's thanks, Yi Xian gently waved his hand and said with a smile, "You are too polite. You are all doctors and you all love others. People should be grateful to you. I will never let you suffer any injustice." These words gave everyone a reassurance, and the current problem was solved. Afterwards, Yi Xian picked some medicinal herbs and prepared to take them back to make soup. He also exchanged medical skills with the old Chinese medicine practitioners present. After the exchange, everyone's admiration for Yi Xian reached a new level. Yi Xian's professional knowledge and unique insights into Chinese medicine made countless veteran Chinese medicine practitioners present feel ashamed. Afterwards, Yi Xian returned home. Several little girls were playing at the door of the villa. When they saw Yi Xian coming back, they were all delighted and threw themselves into Yi Xian's arms. "Dad, you're finally back. We missed you so much." The children hugged Yi Xian tightly and were very affectionate. "Ha, Daddy's only been out for a short while, and you guys already miss me." After rubbing the girls' heads, Yi Xian smiled bitterly. These little girls were really too clingy. "Hey, Dad, what's that in your hand? Is it delicious?" At this time, Yi Shi discovered the Chinese medicine in Yi Xian's hand, licked her lips, and asked curiously. Hearing Yi Shi's words, the other girls also stared over, curious about what Yi Xian was holding in his hand. "Ha, you little greedy cats, these are all medicinal herbs, I'll use them to make soup for you later." "Ah." Hearing this, the children were surprised. They tilted their heads to look at Yi Xian and pout in strange ways. "Dad, we're not sick, why do we need to take medicine?" "That's right, medicine is very bitter." "Ah. Could it be that Dad is sick? Dad, what's wrong with you?" Looking at the confused and worried looks of the little guys, Yi Xian shook his head helplessly. Is this the child's wild imagination? "Okay, Dad is not sick, these can be used to make chicken soup, it's very delicious." In addition to curing diseases and saving lives, Chinese medicine can also be used to make medicinal food. "Oh, that's how it is." The children were still a little confused, but they nodded anyway, knowing that they would have something delicious to eat in the evening. "Honey, what is this?" In the kitchen, Wang Xinyao looked at the herbs Yi Xian took out of the bag and asked with some confusion. "Well, this is the 100-year-old ginseng I got. I'll use it to make chicken soup for you." Yi Xian smiled, took out a chicken from the freezer, put it on the chopping board and started processing it. "Ah. 100-year-old ginseng." Yi Xian handled the chicken calmly, but Wang Xinyao was shocked. "It's okay. Now that the Qingling potion has been released, these things are no longer needed. They can be used as medicinal food." "All right." Wang Xinyao nodded, as if it was indeed the case, but it was still a little hard to accept. Yi Xian also felt a little emotional. It was indeed a waste of resources to use this century-old ginseng to make ginseng stewed chicken. In the past, this thing was very difficult to get. But now this thing is of no use, so using it to make soup is not a waste of resources, at most it can be said to be making the best use of it. Chapter 210 Killing. In the evening, everyone sat around the dining table, smelling the aroma of the chicken soup, which was mixed with a faint medicinal fragrance, which was quite tempting. "It smells so good." The little ones were drooling as they looked at the shiny yellow chicken soup. Soon, the children gulped down a large bowl of it, but they still felt unsatisfied. After drinking a few more bowls, they were satisfied. Dad, the chicken soup you made is so delicious. It tastes different from the original one. Yi Jing licked the chicken soup at the corner of her mouth and praised it for being delicious. The chicken soup made with ginseng not only has the unique flavor of chicken soup, but also a hint of ginseng flavor. The aroma is mellow, the soup is yellow and delicious, and the meat is delicious. However, if this was just the chicken soup made with the 100-year-old ginseng, Yi Xian was worried about letting these little guys drink so much, so he added some medicinal herbs to neutralize the medicinal properties before letting the little guys drink it. But after the little girls finished drinking, their faces were still red and they felt a little hot. Dad, are we sick? I feel hot on my forehead and face after drinking the chicken soup. Do I have a fever? Yeah, Dad, I'm sweating from the heat. Maybe it's because the soup is too hot, I feel warm inside my stomach too. Yi Xian looked at the little guys like this and smiled helplessly. It turned out that the ginseng chicken stew was a little too nutritious for the little guys. What's more, this ginseng is a 100-year-old ginseng, so the effect is even more significant. Even after the medicinal effect is neutralized, it is still a bit too strong. Well, after you rest for a while, Dad will take you out for a run. After the meal, Yi Xian let the little ones digest the food for a while, and then took them out for a run. At the beginning, the children were full of energy, especially after drinking the chicken soup. They were even more energetic than before. After running for a while, seeing that the girls were tired, Yi Xian took them home to rest. However, it was also because the chicken soup had a calming effect on the nerves and helped them sleep, and coupled with the fatigue from the previous run, the little ones all slept very soundly. At night, after coaxing the children to sleep, Yi Xian yawned and smiled lovingly at the sleeping little ones. After stretching, Yi Xian prepared to go to bed. After tidying up the quilts for the little ones, he buried his head in the pillow. However, at the same time, Longshi and others and Bai Ling had not yet gone to bed and were guarding in the distance of the villa. Bai Ling, go back to sleep. We are enough for tonight. You can take over tomorrow. Hearing what Longshi said, Bai Ling was stunned for a moment, and looked at Longshi and joked. Mutu, you are so different today. Why are you so caring? However, Longya still looked indifferent and glanced at Bai Ling. Why, if you don't want to, we'll go back to bed. No, I prepared my facial mask, I'm going to go back and get my beauty sleep. Bai Ling quickly waved her hands and stuck out her tongue at Longshi. Then I'll be leaving first. You guys stay here and call me if you get tired. Longya looked into the distance with sharp eyes and responded softly. Bai Ling didn't say much. She hummed a little tune quietly and walked towards the villa happily. After the two of them parted, Longya and his brothers guarded various places in the villa. Now that he was back here, he had to at least make sure Brother Yi could have a good sleep. However, at this time, a group of people came quietly from the other side, wearing black night clothes, with fierce eyes, looking towards the villa. The leader was a young man who looked ahead coldly, his body trembling slightly. However, this was not because of the cold night wind, nor because of the fear of the road ahead, but because of the hunter's excitement before he was about to be bloodthirsty. This was none other than Ji Xiao, who had seen Longshi on the mountain before. At this time, everyone in the team was moving forward slowly. No one spoke, and they tried to keep the noise as small as possible. However, in the silence, there was a hint of murderous intent. Just as everyone was getting closer to Longshi and others, Ji Xiao, who was in the lead, suddenly stopped and stretched out his hand to signal them to stop. The people behind were also well trained, and after receiving instructions from Master Ji, they stopped quickly. At this moment, Longshi and his group were standing not far from them. In the dark night, the surrounding night lights had been turned off. No one else could be seen in the pitch-black darkness, and no sound could be heard. Only the increasingly noisy chirping of cicadas lingered in their ears. At this moment, Longshi's eyes suddenly became stern, and a fierce look flashed in his eyes. In this darkness, his keen perception made him sense a murderous aura, and this murderous aura was directed at him. Long time no see, how have you been lately? At this moment, a gloomy voice suddenly came from a distance, and Ji Xiao walked over slowly with a group of people. Longya and the others also looked at them, their muscles tensed, ready to attack at any time. Do you think my bounty would be higher if I killed all of you? Longshi smiled coldly, looked at Ji Xiao in front of him with disdain, and even licked his tongue playfully. When Ji Xiao saw Longshi and the smile on his face, his expression suddenly became gloomy. His eyes flashed with tremendous hatred, and he spoke to Longshi with gritted teeth. You killed my brother. Do you really think that our Ji family will let you go? Your brother? Longya stood there, pursing his lips and smiling, as if this was just a trivial matter and not worth mentioning at all. I'm sorry, I've killed too many people. Your brother is a nobody, I really don't remember whether he has killed anyone or not. Ha ha ha. A flash of red light flashed in Ji Shao's eyes, and then he couldn't help but burst into laughter, with a hint of madness in his laughter. I really didn't expect that Longya, who was at the top of the bounty list and is known as the king of assassins, would actually resort to provocation. My purpose for coming here today is very simple. I just want your life. I hope you won't be stingy. As soon as he finished speaking, Ji Shao gave a look and one of his guards stood up instantly. With the speed of a ghost, he rushed towards Longshur and others. Chapter 211, One Strike. A brother next to Longya also rushed forward without hesitation and fought with the guards of the Ji family opposite. Both of them attacked at the fatal points, showing no mercy at all. However, even so, they ended up being evenly matched and neither of them got the upper hand over the other. As the two began to fight, others also joined the battle, but they were all evenly matched and had equal strength. Suddenly, everyone's eyes narrowed and they looked at each other warily, not daring to be careless anymore. On Longshur's side, everyone's eyes suddenly sank. Sure enough, the Ji family, one of the 8 major families, was indeed worthy of its reputation. Although the brothers on Longshur's side were all strong, they gradually fell into a disadvantage because the other side had more people. Longya, you must die today. Ji Shao, who was hiding behind a group of guards, looked at Longshur fiercely. The red light in his eyes flickered more and more, and his body trembled with excitement again. Today, I must watch you die in front of me. Don't worry, I will not let you die so easily. I will make you suffer and die slowly. Facing Ji Shao's voice, Longshur remained calm. The dagger in his hand slipped, and a flash of blood appeared on the neck of a Ji family guard in front of him. Because his throat was cut directly, he soon fell in a pool of blood. How about you come out and we can have a one-on-one? Looking at Ji Shao who was hiding in the distance, Longshur smiled coldly, without forgetting to mock him. How dare you come here and hide behind the guards like this? If I were your father, I'd be ashamed of you. Upon hearing this, Ji Shao gritted his teeth and looked at Longshur like a hungry wolf. Although he was not convinced, he knew that he was no match for Longshur. It's so noisy. Can you please keep your voice down? At this moment, Bai Ling, with a facial mask still on her face, rushed out, holding a tang sword in her hand. She looked at Ji Shao and his group viciously, cursing all the time. It's so unlucky. I was having a good time with my facial mask, but you clowns came to ruin my mood. If I don't kill every one of you today, I won't be named Bai. For a moment, everyone in the Ji family looked at Bai Ling in astonishment. No one knew when a woman suddenly appeared. However, seeing that Bai Ling was harmless, apart from the fact that she had a facial mask on her face which looked a little scary in the dark, he didn't take her seriously. But Bai Ling came over in an instant, swung the tang sword in his hand, and the head of the unlucky guy rolled down instantly, deader than dead. Be careful with this woman. Everyone in the Ji family was frightened by this scene. Suddenly, no one dared to underestimate Bai Ling anymore and they all became alert. Mutu, who are these people? Why are they coming to kill us? Looking at Longshur standing aside, Bai Ling asked hurriedly. No way, there are too many enemies. Longshur glanced at Bai Ling and showed a rare trace of gratitude. Alas, I shouldn't have asked. Who told you to kill so many people out there? Who did you kill this time? Forgot. Longshur didn't say anything more, the dagger in his hand flew as he continued to kill forward. This would. Bai Ling also came to her senses and continued to kill the Ji family guards frantically. However, since Long Ling came to help, the two sides have gradually become evenly matched, and for a while they were inseparable, with casualties on both sides. However, just when the battle was still in full swing, a long sword flew from a distance and directly pierced into the chest of the Ji family guard who was fighting with Longshur. Under everyone's gaze, the guard's pupils suddenly widened, and then a mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth, and the whole person flew backwards. Bang! After a loud bang, the guy was nailed to the ground by the long knife. His neck was twisted, his eyes were still wide open, and he died instantly. What's going on? Seeing this horrifying scene, everyone was shocked and looked around frantically, trying to see who launched the attack. The decisiveness of this strike was simply not on the same level as theirs. The speed and power also reached the extreme. It was an impeccable strike. Afterwards, under everyone's gaze, Yi Xian walked out coldly, glancing at Ji Shao and the others with indifference in his eyes. For a moment, Ji Xiao looked at Yi Xian and actually felt a fear from the bottom of his heart, which made his breathing almost freeze. The powerful sense of oppression brought by Yi Xian made everyone's heart tremble. It was as if they saw the devil from hell walking towards them step by step, ready to take their lives at any time. "Brother Yi, you are here." Longshire saw Yi Xian coming and greeted him in a low voice. Yi Xian nodded, but still looked at the people in front of him indifferently. His whole body was quietly emitting a sense of oppression, making people feel a little difficult to breathe. Ji Xiao was also a little scared at this time. Looking at Yi Xian walking towards him step by step, he became more and more frightened. Before he knew it, his entire back was soaked with sweat. "Come on. Come on, all of you. This is a master." Then, Ji Xiao asked everyone to attack together without hesitation. His heart told him that this must be a master, an unfathomable master. The guards nodded, then gritted their teeth and attacked Yi Xian. However, Yi Xian did not retreat at all, and even accelerated forward. After kicking several people in succession, he directly grabbed one of them by the head. Puff! As the sound of an explosion was heard, everyone was shocked to find that Yi Xian had actually crushed the man's head. There seemed to be a burst of blood mist in the air, along with some skin fragments and tissues, and even some white stuff. Is this still a human being? Suddenly, everyone was stunned with fear. Looking at the brutal scene on Yi Xian's side, they choked up in their hearts and suddenly all panicked. How is this possible? He actually crushed someone's head. This is too fake. It's incredible. Is this still human power? Oh my god. After these few moments, everyone was stunned. No one knew what was going on. They just felt a loud buzzing in their heads, and for a moment, they all froze in place. This is a living person, but his head was crushed by someone. No one could react. Their heads were dizzy. The battle that was going on also stopped in an instant. Everyone looked at this side quietly, not daring to breathe. However, Yi Xian just waved his hand, sprinkled the remaining residue on Sa, and slowly walked towards Ji Xiao. Chapter 212 Total Annihilation. Ah! Upon seeing this, Ji Xiao screamed and sat down on the ground. He looked at Yi Xian in fear, and quickly sat back, his eyes wide open, exuding boundless fear. He had no doubt that the man would pinch his head. The scene just now was still vivid in his mind and he was still recalling it over and over again. However, these originally loyal guards, seeing Yi Xian running towards Master Ji like a devil, no one dared to act rashly. They knew very well that even if they joined together, they could not be a match for this man. No matter what, resistance would be futile. What is even more exaggerated is that at this time, the guards of the Ji family not only did not step forward to protect Master Ji, but instead consciously retreated to the side, and even threw all their weapons on the ground. What are you going to do? Ji Xiao kept retreating, looking at Yi Xian in fear as he was getting closer and closer. He had just seen Yi Xian's strength, and now he didn't dare to resist at all. He even lost control of his body as fear gradually spread. I am the second young master of the Ji family. You better think it over carefully. If you touch me, you will be retaliated by the entire Ji family. If you let me go, I can forgive you for what happened and take everyone here away right away. Do you agree? However, even though this guy stated all the conditions, Yi Xian still acted as if he didn't hear it. In the end, he squatted beside Ji Xiao with a smile. Is the Ji family very powerful? A cold and disdainful voice immediately made Ji Xiao feel cold in his heart. When Yi Xian said this, he could clearly feel that every word that came out of Yi Xian's mouth was full of absolute confidence. That indifferent look seemed as if he really didn't take their Ji family seriously at all. Don't kill me, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Seeing that begging for mercy was of no avail, all hope in Ji Xiao's heart disappeared and turned into complete fear. Perhaps it was because of the power of fear that Ji Xiao stood up fiercely and was about to speak, but found that he could not utter a word. When he looked down, Ji Xiao discovered that he had flown into the air without him knowing when, and Yi Xian was holding his neck tightly in his hand. How dare you? Let our young master go. Let me go quickly, or today will be the day you die. Just wait, if anything happens to the young master, our Ji family will never let you go. Although these guards were trembling in their hearts, they raised their weapons again and aimed at Yi Xian. However, although they raised their weapons, these people still did not dare to move rashly. After all, the disparity in strength was still too great. By now, time was passing by minute, and Ji Xiao, who was being strangled in mid-air, was almost unable to breathe. He was becoming weaker and weaker, and he had completely lost the energy to resist. Crack! The next second, Yi Xian suddenly exerted force with his iron hands that were pinching Ji Xiao. There was a click, and Ji Xiao's tongue stuck out. His entire neck was immediately broken by Yi Xian, and he had no chance of survival at all. After that, Yi Xian just looked at Ji Xiao with disdain and threw him aside like a dead dog. You actually killed the second young master. That means everything is over. Just wait, everyone in the Ji family will definitely regard you as an enemy. How audacious. Now that the second young master is dead, your thing will soon be perfect. These guards suddenly became anxious and raised their weapons one after another. Their expressions became serious, and their eyes were filled with madness. After all, if they fail to protect the second young master, they will be dead even if they return to the Ji family. Don't worry, you will die too, and it's definitely not just your young master. However, Yi Xian showed a playful smile on his face and greeted Longshi and Bai Ling who were standing beside him. Kill. Yes. Longshi and Bai Ling nodded, and then launched an attack with great vigor. Because these guys were caught off guard and had no time to mount a defense, Longshi and Bai Ling killed two of them instantly. Yi Xian did not waste any time. He smiled coldly and joined the battlefield, launching a ruthless killing. A moment later, corpses were everywhere. All the people in the Ji family were dead, and the bodies were lying on the ground in all directions. The blood dyed the grass on the ground red, and the surroundings were filled with a murderous atmosphere. Some of the bodies looked relatively intact, while others were already in pieces. However, Yi Xian did not feel excited at all. He walked gently to the body of the person he had killed first and pulled out the knife that had been buried deep in the ground. Under the moonlight, the blade of the long sword in Yi Xian's hand was sharp. The strange thing was that although it had clearly pierced through the man's body, there was not a trace of blood and the blade was extremely clean. Yi Xian put away the long sword in his hand, put it into the scabbard, and looked at Longshi, Bai Ling, and others. You guys should go back to bed early, it's time to catch up. Okay, brother Yi. Longshi and Bai Ling nodded, and then started to lead people to clean up the situation. After handling it, they went back to sleep. The next morning, Yi Xian had just finished making breakfast when Long Fei came to his door with a smile on her face and gave him a playful smile. How come you came by chance? Long Fei, you are not here to eat for free, are you? Yi Xian smiled slightly, looked at Long Fei unhappily, and then glanced at the breakfast that had just been prepared. Ha, I told you, the one who knows me best is my master. Anyway, I have nothing else to do now, so I am here to eat for free. Master, the food you cook is so delicious. I can't help but eat it for a day. It's so delicious. Yi Xian smiled helplessly, and after tidying up, he called a few little ones over, and everyone started to eat, enjoying the leisurely breakfast time. At this time, Long Fei was eating slowly while looking at the TV in front of him, which was broadcasting the morning news. Good morning, everyone. According to a report from a reporter from Zhongzhou Daily, a car rally will be held in Zhongzhou soon. We will welcome all the masters to participate in this competition full of passion and speed. Ah, the competition! The moment he saw the news, Long Fei became a little excited. He stared at the TV screen with a shocked expression and had no time to pay attention to the delicious food on the table. In order to consider the safety of every competitor, we will choose a closed track for this race, so as to better demonstrate the true level of every driver. Ah, so this is the kind of competition. How boring. We can only run on the track one by one. There is no challenge at all. Chapter 213 No challenge at all. After seeing the introduction that it was actually a race on a track, Long Fei pouted her lips and immediately lost interest. Instead, she disdained such a race and mocked these racers. Yi Xian was eating breakfast. Seeing Long Fei like this, he couldn't help but glance at her. Long Fei immediately pursed his lips, looked at Yi Xian aggrievely, and said softly, Master, I listen to you. I haven't driven for a long time. I always drive well. After dinner, the little ones were at home doing nothing but petting the cats, but Long Fei found them and rubbed their faces with a smile. Little sisters, today Sister Long Fei will take you out to play, go shopping, okay? Okay. When the children heard this, they immediately became excited and clamored to go. After making up his mind, Long Fei said something to Yi Xian, then took the little ones out and came to a nearby commercial center. There are countless pedestrian streets around here, and it is one of the landmarks of the entire city. Wow! It's so lively here. There are so many people. Arriving at the entrance of the mall and looking at the people coming in and out, the little ones couldn't help but feel surprised and became more energetic. Let's go shopping and see what good stuff there is. Longfei smiled at the little ones, then holding 2 of them with his left hand and 3 with his right hand, they walked into the mall in unison. After walking around the mall for a while, everyone saw a lot of nice clothes. Longfei carefully selected a few pieces for the little ones, all of which were clothes from big brands. Afterwards, as everyone was walking, they were suddenly attracted by an arcade in front of them. A few little ones ran over and looked at the various fun things inside, and they immediately became interested. Sister Longfei, can we go play in here? Suddenly, several little guys looked at Longfei with longing and asked if they could go to the video game arcade to play. Well, of course. Longfei nodded, bought a lot of game coins, and then took a few little ones into the video game arcade. However, after entering, the little ones showed no interest in the dazzling array of game facilities. Instead, they were attracted by a row of claw machines neatly placed on the side. At this time, they were lying on the glass of the claw machine, with their eyes wide open, looking at the various dolls inside, their eyes full of love. Ah! Did you come here just to catch dolls? Longfei followed behind and saw all the little ones gathered around the claw machine, and he wiped his sweat. Of course, Sister Longfei, we love catching dolls the most. A few little guys giggled at Longfei and said with a smile. Yes, Sister Longfei, we love claw machines the most. All right. Longfei nodded helplessly, took out the game coins he had just bought, and handed them to the little guys. Thank you, Sister Longfei. The children jumped and danced with excitement. Each of them picked a claw machine. With their eyes rolled, they put game coins into the machine. Which one should I catch? Yishi pouted her lips, breathed softly, and looked at the dolls inside, her eyes full of love. Hey, Xiaoxi, do you really think you can catch him in one go? Longfei smiled bitterly and shook his head. This little girl was really too naive. Of course, Sister Longfei, I can do it. Yishi nodded stubbornly, clapped her little hands lightly, and her hooked claws fell down and grabbed a little duck doll. Sister Longfei, look, I caught him. I caught him. Seeing this, Yishi clapped her hands excitedly, but the next second, the hook suddenly loosened, and the little duck that had been caught fell down again. Ah! Why is that? Yishi immediately became unhappy. She had clearly caught it, so how could it fall down again? Ah, Xiaoxi, you are so cute. How can catching a doll be so easy? Longfei also laughed and said to Yishi with a smile. How about this, sister will help you catch it, okay? All right. Yishi nodded, pointed at the little duck doll that had just fallen, and said aggrievedly. Sister Longfei, I still want this. Longfei smiled, put in the game coins, started the machine, adjusted the position of the hook, pressed the button, and the hook slowly fell. However, this time, just like before, he just grabbed it lightly and it fell down again. Is it that loose? Longfei also frowned. This hook was too weak. Although everyone knows that there are some tricks with this claw machine and the staff will adjust the hook, this is still too much of a scam. At this time, Yishi was still watching eagerly from the side, mumbling softly, cheering for Longfei. Come on, Sister Longfei. Okay, I'll do it again. Longfei clenched his fists and tried several times, but each time ended in failure. Ah! This is unscientific. The successive failures caused Longfei's blood pressure to soar. I don't believe it anymore. I can control the huge stock market, but I can't even catch a baby. At this point, Longfei could be said to have been addicted, but the game coins in his hand had been used up, so he hurriedly exchanged a lot more. Sister Longfei. I caught her. However, when Longfei came back with a large box of game coins, she saw Yixia holding a furry little white rabbit in his hands, waving at her proudly. This. The corners of Longfei's mouth trembled slightly. He gritted his teeth and returned to the claw machine, and started to fight with it again. Thank you, Sister Longfei, I love this little duck so much. After an unknown amount of time, Yishi hugged the little duck doll in her arms and thanked Longfei with a smile. However, Longfei fell into silence as she looked at the few game coins in her hand. She had no idea how many game coins she had thrown in just now, and finally she caught the doll. Apart from the doll caught by Longfei, the only other doll caught by Yixia just now. However, this did not disturb the interest of the little guys. They were having a lot of fun just now. Coo, coo, coo. Just at this moment, the little guys' stomachs rumbled, and Longfei also felt a little hungry. Okay, let's go eat. Aha! Finally, Long Fei and a few girls left the video game arcade. After seeing the outside world, they felt a little happier. After failing for who knows how many times, Long Fei secretly swore in his heart that he would never touch this thing again. Chapter 214 Take You to Fly. Following the signs for the pedestrian street, everyone arrived at the food street. Looking at the dazzling array of shops, although he was hungry, Long Fei didn't know what to eat for a moment. What do you want to eat? Is it Sister Long Fei's treat today? Unable to make up his mind, Long Fei looked at the little guys. At the same time, a few little guys were shaking their heads and looking around, like a few kittens looking for food, giving people a feeling of cuteness to the core. Sister Long Fei, let's go eat fried chicken. Yi Jing was watching, when suddenly his eyes lit up and he looked towards a fried chicken chain store nearby. Yeah. I want to eat it too. Sister Long Fei, let's go to the fried chicken shop. Hey, I agree too. The other little ones looked towards the fried chicken shop, their eyes suddenly lit up, and they all agreed. Well, alright then. Long Fei smiled and nodded, thinking that fried chicken was really attractive to children. Although it's better to let children eat less greasy food, she didn't want to spoil the fun of the little girls when she brought them out. Soon, everyone arrived at the door of the fried chicken chain store. Only then did Long Fei suddenly see the billboard at the door of the fried chicken store and immediately rolled his eyes. Hey, you little guys, are you here for the fried chicken or for the Barbie dolls? On the billboard in front of you, there is a Children's Day event going on. As long as you bring your children to the attraction, each child will be given a small Barbie doll toy after making a purchase. Although boys can also choose car models, Long Fei also knows that these little guys come for the doll. He, Sister Long Fei, this isn't killing two birds with one stone. Yi Jing smiled foolishly, and the other little girls also smiled awkwardly. Okay, I'll listen to you guys for a few days. Without saying much, Long Fei took the kids into the fried chicken shop and found a comfortable corner to sit down. After filling their stomachs, the children came out each holding a small Barbie doll, with excited smiles on their faces. Long Fei was also moved when looking at their smiles. Didn't she also like these things when she was a child? Afterwards, seeing that it was not too late, Long Fei took the children to have a cup of milk tea and go shopping. Only when night fell did she reluctantly walk out of the mall. At this time, each of them had large and small bags, with dolls, clothes, and snacks all available. Are you happy today? Long Fei was walking on the sidewalk under the streetlights with a few little ones, his hands full of things. Happy. Thank you, Sister Long Fei. Several little guys were laughing happily. Although they seemed to be walking a little unsteadily because they were carrying so many things, the smiles on their faces showed how satisfied they were. Well, now that we are happy, we should go back. Good. Then, after arriving at the roadside where Long Fei parked his car, the little ones and Long Fei put all the shopping bags in the trunk, got into the car, and prepared to drive back. Long Fei sat in the front, steering the car leisurely, enjoying the quiet evening breeze and listening to the light music playing in the car. Suddenly, he was startled and another idea came into his mind. Girls, Sister will take you to have some racing fun, okay? Then, Long Fei looked at the children sitting in the back and asked with narrowed eyes. But Sister Long Fei, Dad doesn't seem to allow you to drive fast? When the children heard about the car racing, although they really wanted to go, they suddenly thought of Yi Xian and looked at Long Fei weakly. Don't worry, just don't tell your dad. Sister is very stable when racing. Oh well. After hearing what Long Fei said, the little guys no longer hesitated and agreed immediately. Then sit tight, Sister Level will show you how it feels to chase the wind. Long Fei smiled, gripped the steering wheel tightly with both hands, excitement flashed in his eyes, and he was gradually getting into the state. Soon, Long Fei found a nearby mountain road, which could also lead him back to the villa, although the distance was a little farther. But she was confident that she could turn the original route into a shortcut in this central China racing mecca where there was less traffic and no traffic control. In a flash, when Long Fei was about to drive into the mountain road, he still stepped on the accelerator, the engine drifted with a roar, and turned smoothly into the mountain road, leaving only the pleasant sound of the tires rubbing against the ground. Sister is going to speed up. Long Fei also changed the music in the car, from the soothing music just now to rock music with a strong sense of rhythm. Soon, the little guys decided that a thrust came instantly, and Long Fei suddenly stepped on the accelerator, and the speed soared rapidly. On this mountain road with many bends and continuous rise, Long Fei's speed did not slow down. The whistling wind outside the window made people's blood boil. Yeah. The little guys also let go of themselves at this time and shouted at the top of their lungs. When Long Fei drifted through the corners again and again, their little faces were flushed with excitement. At the same time, on a section of road behind the mountain road, several racers from professional racing teams were drifting through corners again and again. Each operation was so skillful, as if it was as easy as eating and drinking. Originally, they came to Zhongzhou to participate in the rally championship, but they happened to hear that many young men and women often came to race on this mountain road, and this time they also came to fry fish. Ha ha ha. Don't let us run into these playboys, or I'll have to teach them the difference between a profession and a hobby. At this moment, an arrogant voice was heard from the intercoms of several cars, accompanied by the faint roar of engines. Ah, please don't be so cruel. Can you be a little more kind to these children? Come on, Fat Tiger, who shook that unlucky kid so hard that his car flipped over during the last rally in Magic City? Isn't it enough for me to admit it? Don't just blame me, who among you showed mercy? While driving at high speed, several racers were still chatting on the walkie-talkie, but even so, every turn was still flawless, which also demonstrated their strong strength. Their words also revealed their full confidence, as well as their disdain for these so-called young masters and young ladies. They were all waiting impatiently to see them being humiliated. Just at this moment, the racers saw Long Fei's car, their bodies suddenly shuddered, and a strange smile appeared at the corners of their mouths. Brothers, stop chatting, the little sheep is here. Ah, no problem, easy to get. Chapter 215, so embarrassing. Get ready, we'll drive over from another road and give him a little surprise. When several racing drivers saw this car, they all thought it was a car owned by a rich man, and prepared to take another route to overtake. Without hesitation, several cars quickly adjusted their direction and turned into another fork in the road. They stepped on the accelerator and soon drove out of this road. However, to their surprise, when they returned to the main road, Long Fei's car was still in front of them. How is this possible? Seeing this, several racers were dumbfounded. Not only did they choose a shortcut with almost no bends, but they also drove at full power. How could they be overtaken? Even though they were overtaken, they were not convinced. They were all competitors from well-known teams. How could they say that they lost to a young lady? If other people knew about this, wouldn't I become a complete laughingstock? Stop laughing and show your best. We can't underestimate the enemy this time. The leading racer's voice became serious. It seemed that this time, it was not just a simple fish frying, but also a challenge. According to his own experience, Long Fei's car just now went through countless bends, and even though they took the straight road shortcut, they still couldn't overtake. This was enough to prove that even if this person was just a young lady from a wealthy family, his skills were definitely not like those of the rookies they had met before who could only show off their 100-meter acceleration. It is definitely not easy to maintain a speed that surpasses them on such a curve. Brother Hao, don't worry. We will definitely use all our best skills this time. I just can't believe it. What on earth can a mere rich kid do? Don't worry, I was careless and underestimated the enemy just now. Now this guy has no chance. The others were also sitting upright at this moment, not daring to be careless at all. They used all their skills and immediately entered the competition state. But for some reason, the leading racer, who was also the most stable captain among these people, suddenly raised his eyebrows, feeling that this matter was not as easy as they imagined. Although in the mountains, the only sound that could be heard was the roar of racing engines, the atmosphere was extremely tense. Of course, this is only for these racers. Long Fei is still very relaxed and doesn't take it seriously at all. Sister Long Fei, there seem to be people racing behind us, their cars look so professional. A few little girls also noticed the racing car chasing behind them through the rearview mirror. Haha, it's okay, they can't catch up with my sister. Long Fei showed a confident smile, not taking these people seriously at all, and even hummed a song softly. Behind him, several racing cars were still chasing closely, and every racer's forehead was covered with beads of sweat. In this highly tense situation, what made them most desperate was that the distance between them and Long Fei's car in front was getting farther and farther. They have tried their best to control every turn, but it is still of no use. They can only watch helplessly as Long Fei gets farther and farther away. The racer at the front was surprised to find that every time Long Fei turned a corner, he stuck closely to the inner wall of the cliff and controlled the distance perfectly. This also means that when Long Fei turns, the drift amplitude needs to be minimal, which can greatly shorten the turning time. While these professional racing drivers had to slow down to turn, Long Fei still maintained a high speed, which was what shocked them the most. Perhaps they can understand the former's arm-sticking drift. If they are familiar with the track and their skills reach a certain level, they can do it. However, the latter's speeding into a curve was incredible, not to mention to the layman. Even the so-called experts felt that it was not something that humans could do. Time passed slowly, but the distance between them and Long Fei was getting farther and farther. When they climbed to the top of the mountain, they could no longer see Long Fei in front of them. They immediately beat their chests and stamped their feet, and no longer had any intention of chasing him. After parking the car aside, everyone quickly got out and looked down the mountain toward the guardrail at the side. They were immediately stunned. Meanwhile, Long Fei was driving the car, shuttling back and forth on the mountain road, as smooth as flowing water, and as fast as lightning, without stopping at all. This is meeting a master. These racers were completely dumbfounded at this moment, with waves of chaos rolling in their hearts and a strong sense of frustration overwhelming them. Originally they thought they were among the top experts in this field, but when compared with Long Fei's driving skills, they instantly became trash. "Captain, what should we do? Should we continue chasing?" Several people looked at the captain, who was still in a daze, blankly, and asked weakly. "Chase? Chase with what? They can beat us to a pulp with a car like this. What can we use to fight them? Let's all go back. Let's not stay here and humiliate ourselves." At this point, the captain said this, and several team members understood it in their hearts. At this time, they couldn't say anything, but just shook their heads lightly and drove away in despair. After returning to the base, the other racers in the team saw the captain coming back with a few people, and they all came up to him and asked with a grin, "How was it? Didn't we have a great time frying fish today? Captain, this place I told you about is great, right? You have to treat me to a meal at least." "Ah, if I hadn't been busy, I would have gone with you. How about these young masters and young ladies? Aren't they hilarious?" However, the captain and his men lowered their heads, and when they heard everyone asking about what happened today, their faces suddenly darkened. "Fuck off." The captain growled with gritted teeth, then left coldly and returned to his room. The other team members were all stunned. What on earth was going on? They had never seen the captain get so angry before. "No, what's wrong with you? Why are you so weird? Yeah, can you please tell us what happened? Didn't you meet anyone today? Are you sulking here?" After seeing the captain leave, people turned their attention to the others. However, the few of them remained silent. No matter how they asked, they remained silent. After all, what happened today was really embarrassing. Chapter 216, Knock-You. They were defeated by a rich kid, a character they looked down upon, using a non-professional vehicle, on the corner where they were best. Just when the atmosphere in the racing driver base was depressing, Long Fei had already arrived at the door of the villa with a few little ones. After parking the car, the little girls were still enjoying the fun of racing. "Sister Long Fei, you are so awesome." "Yes, Sister Long Fei, I felt like you were flying when you were driving just now." "Ah, that's so exciting. I want to do it again." Long Fei shook his head proudly, still savoring the previous feeling, which was indeed unforgettable. "Hey, we're home now. Let's go in first. If there's a chance next time, I'll take you guys racing." "Good." The little ones nodded happily, took out the bags of shopping from the trunk, and walked towards the villa together. "Dad, we're back." The children had just come back, and after putting their things away, they ran over to Yi Xian. "Well, how was it? Did you have fun today when your sister Long Fei took you out to play?" Seeing the children coming over, Yi Xian also smiled and rubbed their heads affectionately. "Happy." Yi Xian nodded, glanced at Long Fei, who was walking in front of him with a smile, and continued to ask the little ones. "Okay, then what did your sister Long take you to do?" Hearing this question, Yi Shi pouted her lips and began to recall every detail of today, counting on her fingers one by one. "Well, Sister Long Fei took us to buy clothes and jewelry first, then we went to play the claw machine, and finally we ate fried chicken and went shopping for a long time, and finally we went racing." Long Fei was originally smiling at Yi Shi's cute appearance, but when he heard the word speeding from Yi Shi's mouth, Long Fei's eyes suddenly widened 3 times. Now he was like a cat whose tail was stepped on. He rushed over and covered the mouths of Yi Shi and the other little guys. "Speed racing." Yi Xian didn't react when he heard this, but stared at Long Fei with a smile on his face. Master, I know I was wrong." Long Fei smiled awkwardly, looking guilty. Ouch. However, the next second, Yi Xian suddenly hit Long Fei on the head. Long Fei looked in pain and howled for a long time. "Sister Long, what's wrong with you?" For a moment, the little guys were frightened by Long Fei's reaction, and hurriedly rubbed Long Fei's head gently with their hands. Seeing Long Fei's genuinely painful expression, Yi Xian couldn't help but laugh, and said to her in an unpleasant tone. Okay, I didn't use any strength just now, can you act more realistically? Long Fei pursed his lips and there was silence for a while. Dad, why don't you let Sister Long Fei race? Sister Long Fei is really good at racing. The little guys were very confused and didn't know why Yi Xian didn't allow Long Fei to race. Go ask her yourself, she used to be very powerful. Yi Xian smiled and looked at Long Fei jokingly. Master, I was wrong, and that's not enough. Just don't mention it. Obviously, when this was mentioned, Long Fei suddenly became like a deflated ball, no longer daring to inflate. After a while, Long Fei was sitting on the sofa, eating snacks with a few little ones. Wang Xinyo was watching from the side, and couldn't help but smiled bitterly and shook her head. This little apprentice has only been with the little guys for a short time, but now he's almost becoming the leader among the kids. While eating, Long Fei's phone suddenly rang. He took out his cell phone and answered the call immediately. Okay, I got it. Facing the voice on the other end of the phone, Long Fei became obviously much more serious. He immediately took his mobile phone to the study room and started a video conference. The meeting did not last long. After the meeting, Long Fei walked out and went straight to Yi Xian and talked about the video conference. Master, the patriarchs of the local big families want to see you tomorrow. Yi Xian's expression did not change at all. He nodded slightly, raised his teacup and took a few sips. Okay, tell them I'm right. Okay, master. I'll get busy now. After finishing speaking, Long Fei left the villa. The little guys didn't know when they changed into the new clothes they bought today, and came to Yi Xian's door skipping and jumping. Dad, look at our new clothes, don't they look good? At this time, the children are wearing different clothes, with different colors and styles, but they all look beautiful. Of course they look good. My little darlings look good in any clothes. After hearing Yi Xian's praise, the little guys were very happy. After playing for a while, they all started yawning. Seeing this, Yi Xian secretly thought that it was getting late, and they were all tired after playing all day, so he quickly took the children to bed. The next morning, Yi Xian got up early as usual. After making breakfast, he went to the villa yard to practice Tai Chi as today's morning exercise. However, not long after Yi Xian came out, several little guys woke up. Seeing Yi Xian practicing boxing outside, they changed their clothes and went out to accompany Yi Xian in morning exercises. After sweating a lot, Yi Xian led the little ones to have breakfast, and time quickly came to noon. Yi Xian glanced at the time and knew it was time to go to the appointment, so he looked at Wang Xinyao and the little ones. Xinyao, girls, I'm going to a party later, do you want to come with me? Dad, we won't go this time. Dad went out for something to do. Yi Jing said obediently after hearing this, which surprised Yi Xian a little. But in fact, the little ones all know that if they just want to have such a gathering, it is basically meaningless. Well, Xinyao, you stay at home and take care of them. Bai Ling and Long Shi are here if anything happens. In this case, Yi Xian had no choice but to go alone, and smiled and gave Wang Xinyao a few instructions. Okay, go ahead, husband. After packing up, Yi Xian got in the car and Tang Hao was responsible for driving him there. At this time, the patriarch of the big family and his group had gathered at the entrance of Zhengzhou International Hotel, but they were here for no other purpose than to welcome a distinguished guest who was about to arrive. These patriarchs of large families who normally hold high positions appear extremely humble here today, with respect written all over their faces. Chapter 217, Everyone is a big shot here. But the people around were very surprised by this scene, and many passers-by stopped to watch. When they saw the patriarch of the big family and others, they were all slightly bent over, looking forward with respectful eyes, and even if there was a slightly bigger movement, they tried not to move, as if they were afraid of ruining their posture. What's wrong with these people? They look really weird. Yeah, it's a bit strange indeed. Isn't this too weird? Aren't you really tired standing like this? Passers-by started talking about it, and even those who didn't say anything were puzzled by these people's behavior. Some young men standing not far away saw this scene and laughed sarcastically. Ha ha ha, what is this for? What does it mean? You don't understand. This is called performance art. This is the first time I've seen it today. It's so funny, even funnier than a fool, my stomach hurts from laughing. These young men had defiant expressions and their tone was full of mockery. However, these boys' unintentional actions almost made their parents who were watching vomit blood. Most of their parents are high-ranking officials and are well known in Zhengzhou, but their children are quite rebellious and none of them follows the rules. Shut up, no one is allowed to talk anymore. At this time, their parents quickly covered their mouths, their foreheads were covered with beads of sweat, and they looked at them seriously and spoke. What do you know? They are all waiting for someone. It's obvious that this is a very important person. I don't want to say anything more. Do you know their identities? Open your eyes and look. Behave yourself and shut your mouths. This old man is the winner. Do you think you can say whatever you want? There are other people whose status is not low. You better be careful with your words. This is not right. When the young people heard their elders say this identity, they were immediately shocked, their mouths opened wide, and cold sweat covered their foreheads and backs. In an instant, most of these young people suddenly realized, and their eyes changed in an instant. Such a big shot stood here and waited for someone so respectfully, so what was the identity of the other party? How big a figure must one be to be worthy of such respectful waiting from these people? Thinking of this, several young people suddenly fell silent. After this, many people kept paying attention to that side, ready to see what kind of big shot came here. Anyone who can be valued so much by these people must be of high status and must be a master of considerable position. After a while, everyone saw a Hongqi L5 driving towards the hotel entrance, and many people were immediately startled. What kind of status is this? He actually came here in this car, which is more impressive than driving any luxury car. TSK. I thought it was some other car? Turns out it's just a red flag car? That's right, this car doesn't look that good. Is this really some big shot? How come he doesn't even have a luxury car? When the young masters saw that the car coming was a Hongqi, they immediately sneered and their tone returned to what it was just now. Bang! However, as soon as one of the young men finished speaking, his father slapped him in the face, making a crisp and loud sound. Dad, why did you hit me? The young man covered his face with some grievance and looked innocently at the middle-aged man beside him. You know nothing. You deserve to be beaten. You just hang out outside all day and don't know anything. Let me tell you, those who can ride in this car are truly powerful people. This is either a top official or a prestigious foreign guest. You still look down on him. Where do you get the courage to do that? When the young man heard what the middle-aged man said, he was speechless for a moment and lowered his head silently. The other young men also opened their mouths wide. They had not expected that the other party had such an identity. In addition, other people also reacted strongly when they saw the red flag, and they started discussing it one after another. Oh my God! Forget about the red flag. It's actually a license plate like this. TSK, 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 how important a person must be to be able to sit here. It seems that this time, this is really a person of great origin. While they were talking, the patriarchs of the big families and others moved and came towards the red flag car, all with respectful and flattering smiles on their faces. The patriarch of the big family even opened the car door himself, held the door with one hand, and respectfully welcomed Yi Xian as he got out of the car. Mr. Yi, you are here. We are so honored that you can come here in person. I've heard of Mr. Yi's great name for a long time. Now that I've met him today, I'm sure he's as famous as I've heard. At this time, the patriarchs of the big families and their companions all greeted warmly and welcomed Yi Xian down. At this time, everyone around turned their eyes over, as if he had become a focal point, and they all wanted to see who this big shot was. However, after Yi Xian got out of the car, everyone was stunned. Looking at the young and handsome face in front of them, no one could believe that this was what they saw. Suddenly, everyone's head started buzzing, as if struck by lightning, and their expressions froze instantly. Oh my God, this is too young, are you kidding me? I simply cannot understand it. Could this really be some hidden big shot? Look at these people, it can't be fake. And it's not easy for them to be able to sit on the red flag at this age. The onlookers were all frightened, but looking at the situation, they also determined that this person was definitely not simple. After all, the people from these big families are not fools. Hey, master, you're here. As he spoke, Long Fei also walked over with a smile and waved at Yi Xian. When the people from the big family saw Long Fei coming, they nodded in the same way, with respect in their eyes. Mr. Yi, we are all ready, please come in. Good. Yi Xian nodded, and even though he was surrounded by this group of people, his expression remained unchanged. Without saying much, the clan leader invited Yi Xian into Zhengzhou International Hotel and walked straight to the private room. Outside, the onlookers were still in a state of confusion, their shock growing more intense, but they couldn't figure out why. At this time, in the best private room of Zhengzhou International Hotel, the food and drinks had been served, and the patriarch also invited Yi Xian to the main seat. Mr. Yi, we still want to thank you for coming here. On behalf of everyone here, I'd like to toast you. Chapter 218, we'll talk later if there's anything. Even now, the patriarch could not hide his excitement at all. He picked up the wine glass and stood up respectfully. Yi Xian nodded slightly, raised his wine glass and took a sip. The patriarch drank the wine in the cup without leaving a drop, which showed his utmost respect and sincerity. Even though this patriarch is the patriarch of one of the top families in Zhengzhou, he dare not be disrespectful in front of Yi Xian. They all knew Yi Xian's identity. He was the developer of the Qingling potion that caused a sensation throughout China. Moreover, Yi Xian, who developed this medicine, chose not to take a penny and benefit China. Now he is a hot topic all over the country. Let alone his identity, just talking about his contribution, it would be hard to find a second one, not to mention in this small Zhengzhou, even if you look at the whole of China. After the patriarch toasted, everyone else stood up and toasted as well, their expressions equally excited. After a few rounds of toasts, Yi Xian also drank some wine. Seeing that it was getting late, he started talking about business with everyone. Everyone, I came here today. In addition to meeting with you, I also want to talk about something serious. As Yi Xian's magnetic voice rang out, everyone quieted down and looked at Yi Xian and listened carefully. The main thing I want to talk about here today is resource integration. Although it sounds simple, it is also something that must be taken seriously. As everyone knows, Zhengzhou has been an important transportation hub for China since ancient times. It is a very important location. So integrating resources is very important and urgent for the development here. It will bring all kinds of benefits without any harm. But to achieve these things, we still need your support. What do you think? After saying this, Yi Xian stopped talking and left the choice to everyone. The patriarch of the big family nodded meaningfully and was the first to agree with Yi Xian's words. Mr. Yi, you are right. We fully agree with you. No problem, Mr. Yi, we will listen to you on this matter. This is very important. We are so lucky that Mr. Yi is willing to come and help us. As for the others, they had no objections and agreed to Yi Xian's idea by clapping their hands. Okay. Since everyone has no objection, then this matter will be easy to handle. Yi Xian also nodded and spoke word by word as he looked at everyone. Mr. Yi, just tell us what you need to do and we will do it. I promise you on behalf of everyone. The patriarch of the big family took a sip of wine and spoke seriously. The others were also filled with emotion. They didn't expect that Yi Xian would give them such help when he came to Zhengzhou this time. They were immediately moved to tears. Thank you very much, Mr. Yi, for your concern. Your help to us is invaluable. And if it weren't for your Qingling potion, Mr. Yi, I might not have the chance to sit here. Mr. Yi, you are my lifesaver. Yes, so as long as it comes out of your mouth, Mr. Yi, no matter what it is, we have no objection at all. Seeing that everyone agreed, there was a burst of admiration and gratitude. Yi Xian waved his hand slightly to make everyone quiet down. Well, since everyone has no objection, let's discuss the specific details of this time. Afterwards, Yi Xian and others began to discuss the details of resource integration while eating, and made some substantial progress. At the same time, a special plane landed quietly at Zhengzhou Airport. This was a special plane from the southeast. After it slowly landed at the airport, some young men and women got off the plane first. Then, a middle-aged man in a suit and tie slowly walked down. The middle-aged man walked down the escalator, and all the airport executives came up with smiles on their faces. While asking about his well-being, they also welcomed his arrival. However, the middle-aged man had his eyes half closed and his expression was dull. No matter how enthusiastically these executives greeted him, he acted as if he didn't see a thing. He just glanced at these executives, adjusted his collar without saying a word, and then looked straight ahead, pretending that he did not see the executives, and walked forward. The man was very arrogant, with sharp eyes and a haughty expression, and his every move revealed the nobility that only those in a superior position could have. This person was none other than Ying Bai, who was previously in the Southeast Division of the Yanhuang military. Even though the airport executives were poured a bucket of cold water, they still did not dare to complain. They knew very well what role this person played. After everyone got off the plane, they walked outside. The middle-aged man asked the young man next to him as he walked. By the way, is the special car ready? The young man smiled and nodded when he heard this. Everything is ready, but when we, the winners, come to Zhangzhou, all the dignitaries here will come to greet us. I think our special car will become a burden. The middle-aged man had no objection to this, it was indeed the case. However, what they did not expect was that after they walked out, they did not see the huge welcoming team as they had imagined. All they could see were only their own people and a few cars. Suddenly, all these young masters and young ladies were stunned. After a brief silence, a surge of anger surged into their hearts. It's really outrageous that the patriarchs of the big families in Zhangzhou and the dignitaries here dare not come. Doesn't this mean you don't take us winners seriously? I think it's because we winners haven't come out for too long. These guys have forgotten that we winners still exist in China. For a moment, all the winners were furious and found it difficult to accept such a fact. After all, they were the winners in one of the 8 major families in China. In the past, no matter where we went, as long as we got the news, the local dignitaries would come to greet us warmly. However, this time it was totally deserted. The strong sense of disappointment made it difficult for the winners to accept it for a while. Their faces suddenly darkened and they kept expressing all kinds of dissatisfaction. Even the middle-aged man was angry. He snorted coldly, then waved his sleeves and walked forward. The young man's face turned cold at this time. After taking a few deep breaths, he spoke to the others around him. Never mind, let's go to the hotel first and talk about it later if there is anything else. Chapter 219. Mr. Yi, are you here too? Everyone nodded, and without further delay, they all got into their own private cars and drove away. After an hour or so, Yi Xian's dinner with everyone came to a successful conclusion. After discussion, everyone proposed a number of plans for integration and reached a unanimous agreement. Both parties were very satisfied with the result. As for the people in Zhangzhou, their faces were filled with excitement, and it was hard to describe it. After all, such a plan has so many advantages for them. It is like a development plan tailor-made for them. So at this moment, everyone was impressed by Yi Xian's intelligence and ability, and they admired him even more in their hearts. Several patriarchs of large families and others walked out of the private room first, and happened to see the boss who was waiting outside. Today, all the guests in this private room are real heavyweights, so the boss dare not be careless and is waiting outside the door all the time in case of emergency. Boss, all the expenses today are charged to my account. When the patriarch of one of the big families saw the boss, he was in high spirits and waved to the boss with a smile. The boss smiled, shook his head, patted his chest and said, "Hey! That's impossible. You all are willing to come to my place, which is already a great honor for me. How can I let you spend money? So don't say anything. I'll just take care of today's meal. If you guys are willing to come in the future, I'll cover everything too." The patriarch of the big family also smiled when he saw this, and was about to say something when he heard a cold voice from the side. The clan leaders are in such a good mood. How was your meal today? Upon hearing this, the patriarch of the big family and others were suddenly startled and looked towards the source of the sound. The person who came was none other than the young man who won at the airport just now. When they saw the winner, their hearts trembled at the same time, and they immediately remembered what happened to the previous winner. In an instant, the faces of several clan leaders turned pale. A few days ago, they learned that the winners were coming to Zhangzhou, and they had already set a schedule and planned a rush to welcome them. But it happened that Yi Xian agreed to the dinner, and everyone was excited, so they hurried to prepare, but they forgot that there was a winner. And now, the thing they least wanted to see has happened before their eyes. The winner actually came to them. And this is definitely not for any other reason. It seems that he is here to bring an army to hold someone accountable. Seeing the current situation, everyone couldn't help but shudder, and their bodies began to tremble uncontrollably. Thinking about the power of the winner, it is one of the 8 major families at its peak. It is one of the top families in the whole of China. In terms of strength, it is a hegemon who covers the sky with one hand. Although the people in front of them were only side branches, they were by no means comparable to them. Then, everyone saw that the winner had a cold face, as if he was about to eat someone. His already pale face turned even paler, and his body trembled even more violently. However, at this moment, another person suddenly walked up from behind the young man. It was the middle-aged man from before. Seeing that Ing Bai was among the people who came, everyone's mouths suddenly opened wide, they were all scared. "I'm sorry everyone, it's our fault, we forgot about this, we are so sorry. We just accidentally forgot. There's absolutely no other meaning. We forgot. This is our fault. We also had a distinguished guest to welcome today, so we didn't greet him in time. I hope you will forgive us. At this time, everyone from the big family lowered their heads and sincerely begged for forgiveness from the winners. Distinguished guest? What distinguished guest? Can you open my eyes? However, the young man still had a sullen face and a playful look on his face. This is really strange. Tell me, what kind of distinguished guest is this? Could he be more distinguished than my uncle? When the other young masters and young ladies of the winning group heard this, they also chuckled and mocked with ill intent. Oh, it seems that I really didn't know that Yu Zhongzhou has become bigger and stronger after not coming here for a long time. That's right. Look, you don't even take us winners seriously. We came to your Zhongzhou to give you face, but you dare not come to pick us up at the airport. Next time, will you dare to ride on our heads as the winners? Seeing this, everyone in Zhongzhou lowered their heads and hurriedly began to explain. No. Please stop joking. We were really careless this time. I hope you can forgive us. At this time, everyone in Zhongzhou was so scared that they were sweating coldly, and their foreheads and backs were almost wet. Ying Bai just watched from the side, remaining silent. The young man snorted coldly, walked over slowly, and looked at the people in Zhongzhou meaningfully. Okay, stop explaining. Where is your distinguished guest? I want to see who on earth has come to make you so disregard us, the winners. Just at this moment, accompanied by several other family heads, Yi Xian walked out of the private room and walked towards the side. Several family heads looked at Yi Xian at this time, still feeling deeply moved, and said with great gratitude, Mr. Yi, you have helped us a lot this time. Thank you so much. Mr. Yi. Suddenly, the winner was stunned, and then he glanced and saw Yi Xian. His face changed instantly, and a huge wave of shock rose in his heart. They never imagined that the distinguished guest that everyone in Zhongzhou was talking about was actually Yi Xian. The patriarch of the big family was even more desperate. Now he had encountered both sides. No one knows what will happen now. On one side is Yi Xian, and on the other side is the winner. If the two sides collide, wouldn't it be like Mars hitting the Earth? If a quarrel really breaks out, even the slightest spark will be enough to cause them great pain. But now that the incident had already happened, there was no point in avoiding it. The patriarch of the big family wiped his sweat and prepared to introduce each other. However, at this moment, Ying Bai's originally calm expression suddenly changed, and he quickly ran towards Yi Xian. Mr. Yi. Why are you here? Ying Bai quickly smiled respectfully and greeted him warmly. After all, Yi Xian also taught me how to fight, so to some extent, he could be considered my master. At this time, the group of people nearby were all stunned and took a deep breath. The turn of events now has completely exceeded their imagination. The winner, Ying Bai, is actually so respectful to Yi Xian. Chapter 220 Don't Blame Me. Looking at the other winners, they were like wilted eggplants. The domineering look just now was gone in an instant, replaced by a look of awe. Ying Bai was even more respectful, and his attitude towards Yi Xian was like two different people. But this is not surprising. After all, Yi Xian's strength is enough to make them respect him. He had already overwhelmed everyone in the southeast branch of the Yanhuang military, which made them convinced. The several family heads who had just followed Yi Xian out were now staring at each other in confusion. Everyone looked bewildered, and no one knew what had happened. But when they recognized that this was the winner, Ying Bai, they were all stunned. The surprise in their hearts was beyond words. This was the winner. This is the winner of one of the 8 major families in China, and yet he has such an attitude towards Yi Xian. The patriarch of the big family, who had been in a panic and thought that a disaster was about to happen, was now even more stunned when he saw the scene. Even the winners of the 8 major families treat Yi Xian like this, so Yi Xian's status and identity are far beyond their imagination. In an instant, everyone present was stunned and the scene was silent. The boss standing by didn't dare to even breathe, let alone say a word. The identities of the people present were more terrifying than each other, so how could he have any say? This sudden scene was like a heavy hammer, making everyone's heart tremble. The winners were completely disappointed. They never expected that Yi Xian was actually here, and was the distinguished guest of all Zhongzhou people. As a result, they no longer dared to mess with the people from Zhongzhou. After all, the other party was none other than Yi Xian. If a fight were to break out, no one here would be able to match Yi Xian no matter how hard they tried. Ying Bai stood in front of Yi Xian, thinking about what had happened before. He was truly impressed by Yi Xian and started to ask about his well-being. "Mr. Yi, we are so sorry for not welcoming you. We came here without any prior arrangement. I hope you won't blame us." The faces of the winners, young masters and young ladies who had been showing off before, changed drastically, and they looked at Yi Xian in front of them in disbelief. They all knew that the previous Ying Lin was considered a master among their Ying family side branch, and was even considered strong among the direct lineage. However, in the battle with Yi Xian almost took Ying Lin's life with just a random move. Of course, this was when Yi Xian showed mercy. How could such strength and means not surprise people, especially for those of the side branches who usually think that they are invincible except for the main line of the family? This is simply a dimensionality reduction attack. With these thoughts in mind, the winner no longer had any arrogance and became as obedient as a little lamb. Looking at Yi Xian in front of him, Ying Bai was also happy in his heart. After all, Yi Xian was usually elusive. It was a coincidence that they could meet Yi Xian when they came to Zhongzhou this time. "Mr. Yi, are you leaving now? Let me see you off." Ying Bai then escorted Yi Xian out with a smile on his face. While seeing him off respectfully, he suddenly remembered something and asked Yi Xian humbly, "By the way, Mr. Yi, the 8 Directions Martial Arts Conference is about to begin. Do you want to go and take a look?" After hearing this, Yi Xian thought for a while and nodded slightly. "Well, let's go and take a look." Ying Bai was delighted again when he heard this and quickly